don't even know their names, 'cause I'm a philanderer. Yes, a philanderer. I sleep around.
Philander bowls. This one keeps low, but it's well outside the off stump, and Root lifts his bat high and lets it through to Dick Cock. So, gentlemen, England 171 for 3, still chasing a possibly unlikely target of 376. How do we think it's going?
Well, I didn't expect us to be here at all, honestly, about a day ago. So I'm thrilled to just have the opportunity to commentate on cricket. First of all, I mean, the dreaded Sky Wasp predictor. Where would it be right now? I'd say somewhere around the region of 15-20%, I reckon, which is about 14% more than it would have been yesterday.
On-driven by Root. That's nicely timed. He beats the despairing dive of the mid-on fielder, and that's down to the boundary for one of these. Yeah, I saw Jonathan Agnew tweet last night that England were about 5%, he said, which was pretty good after being at 0% earlier. But if you're at 0%, then there's no way back from that, so I'm not sure he's got a great grasp of maths.
Well, I think the well-worn examples worth repeating. You know, there was Kusal Pereira earlier in South Africa.
As Philander bowls, again keeps a little bit low. Root tries to work it into the offside and set off for a single, but there isn't one there.
Earlier this year, I should say, and then even more recently was the Stokes miracle at Headingley, and these two batsmen, their partnership at a similar deficit was key to setting up that amazing heist by England.
Yeah, I think this wicket is doing a lot more than that Headingley wicket was. And some bizarre things happened in that game. Let's not forget there was that run out and that LBW decision, which all could have made the result very different. As Philander is up to the wicket now, and that's a straight ball which is turned by Root behind square on the leg side for an easy single.
There's definitely some form for this as a possibility. If you think Jimmy Anderson obviously has a bit of form for some late order rear guards. I mean, he could take on the Leach role quite happily, I would have thought, with Stokes.
I don't think he'd come out though and rehearse his single like Leach did after that Headingley Test match. I don't think Jimmy's the type who'd be sitting in a bath with a beer. Who's joined us on Twitter?
Arthur Patricia says, afternoon folks, a little late reporting for duty today. I see Denley is gone, so all hope is lost. All that remains is for England to cling on futilely, so you have to come in to commentate on 1.4 overs tomorrow.
Yeah, cheers Arthur. Patricia.
Greg Smith says, Greg Smith has been entertaining company the last few days. What's the story? I mean, the story to cricket's big nicknaming. Big Vern isn't big. I've stood next to him. He's about 1.83 metres. Not like Big Bird Morkel.
I don't think they're referring to his height necessarily. No. Opening after lunch from the other end is a chap who was pretty impressive before lunch, and I'll jingle him up after this first ball as he bowls right arm over the wicket to Root, rather, who clips this to backward square leg where there's a fielder. The bowler is this chap.
If your number one project is to have yourself a bride, I think I've got your number one guy. He was bought by a franchise when he was buying meat. It's Henrik Nortje.
Nortje. That's how I'm pronouncing it. Other pronunciations are available. Bowls a little bit shorter.
Nortje.
Nortje.
Nortje. That's also a type of Tuscan sausage, isn't it?
I'll refer you to a friend of ours, Cookie, who has a South African mate who sent him this.
It's too quiet. Nortje. Where's the K coming from?
Nortje. It's the K. The K is the main vowel, is the surprising vowel sound.
Is he the first Anrich to play Test cricket?
Oh, you'd have to think so. You'd have to think so. But
you never
if you know otherwise, do let us know.
So maybe it was Wally Hammond's middle name. Short ball, and this is Root gets on top of it and guides this down to third man, where Maharaj wings it back in. A single to Root takes him to 19, 177 for 3. The target below 200.
You just call him the Big Quick, the big angry Boer Quick, because he's been threatening. He hit Root on the wrist before lunch. He got rid of Burns as soon as he was introduced today with a bouncer that was too quick for for Burns, and
He's got a couple to rise off, only just short of a length.
He's a classic South African build, isn't he? A certain type of kind of hardest Vilhern or that kind of ilk of big, strong man.
yeah, there's another one, just Big Anric, we'll call him.
Round the wicket now to the left-handed Stokes, and beats Stokes. He plays a forward defensive shot. And that may have just
That's
angled
unplayable.
away slightly at good pace, 90 miles an hour. They've gone back to miles now, Roger, you'll be pleased to see,
I am.
after being kilometres for the first couple of days.
Just as I was getting my calculations,
Yeah.
it kept
Getting your slide tables out.
keep
your,
it simple,
your
stupid.
algorithms.
Yeah, it's generally 90 plus from this fella.
Yeah, good pace, good carry, good bounce taken at head height by de Kock. And Stokes has an intake of breath to go, oh, that's pretty handy. This is closer to the off stump. Root turns it into the leg side, up to mid-on where it's fielded, no run. Anyone else joined us?
Yes, Mog has a poll for us. What should I name my newest feline arrival? 4 options: Lalartu, Erish Kigal, Lamashtu, or something stupid and lame. Quick answers from you guys.
We need Hendo, he's the cat expert.
I'm gonna
Lamashtu.
Lamashtu, exactly what I was going to say. That's what we put it.
Labuschagne.
Yeah.
Nurturing again around the wicket. This is down the leg side, and he's going up for a strangle down the leg side. I don't think Stokes got that close to it. None of his teammates seem to have supported him, so
No
he sort of
interest.
sheepishly puts his hands down and heads back to the end of his mark.
Is there a slight look of creeping anxiety on South African faces, do you think?
No, not
No.
quite yet.
No, there
I'm
wa-
not sure.
Well, it's
Does de Kock always have a look of creeping anxiety about him? Is that what I'm?
Bear in
Is that
mind,
what I'm
this was the
seeing?
England team who lost 7 wickets for 30 odd runs in the first innings.
de Kock always looks like he's going to burst into tears.
They're very choky, the South Africans, though, aren't they? Innately.
Oh, he said it. He came
Yeah,
in
he
hot with the
C
C word.
Yeah.
He's gone with the C word.
7 minutes in, and he's laid down the C word. Wow.
Well, it is potentially a choke situation because you have to be very far in front for a choke to come into play. Some people use it, when you just lose games. That's not the way it works. The mallet's out.
Timmy,
Ashley,
not Shepton.
top 5 mallets.
Timmy.
As
Mallets.
Well, that's
Timmy's eponymous show.
as Philander's worried about where his front foot is landing. There's some talk lands because he's
too short.
he's carrying a few extra. But I know we have a go about his weight, but he doesn't look like he's got the build of an international sportsman, does he?
Paul Sterling would begs to differ.
Yes, I suppose so. It's different if you're a bowler, though, isn't it?
No, I know.
It's funnily enough in baseball, you have quite chunky pitchers as well as hitters. Philander starts a new over to the England captain Root, who cuts sweetly between the point and cover fielders and out to the boundary for one of these.
It's me, and she. It's me, and she.
He likes it there, Root, short and wide outside the off stump. He got on top of it, no danger. It wasn't wide enough for him to play 3 shots and then get caught in gully as he did a few times during the summer. I didn't see his first innings dismissal. Apparently it was odd again. Somebody can talk me through that?
Yeah, he was advancing at Philander. He'd done it the over previously and clipped one off his legs, so he thought this was a solution to get down the pitch to him, but he was on the walk. Philander held it outside off stump and he fiddled it through to the
Yeah, it's
keeper.
ugly.
Well, Vern in again, and on the back foot he finds a gap square of the wicket. Gully has to go to his right to field, so a single to Root, 182 for 3. The captain on 24.
Abhishek said 10 points to South Africa for Nokia's proper floppy hat. He does wear it well. Great.
Yes. I haven't seen that much of him in the field, but I'll keep an eye out for it. Is it a really wide floppy hat, or is it?
That's just
Or
a
more
standard
narrow
one, and
brim?
it flops. But it's not. It flops quite nicely too. It's not a very stiff brim.
Who's the king of the stiff brim?
Keith Arthurton.
Richie Richardson, possibly? As Vernon Philander bowls to the left-handed Stokes. Plays a ball on leg stump to mid-wicket. Another dot.
Yeah, England team have sort of long since dispensed with the floppy, haven't they? Stokes occasionally wear.
I think Denley likes to wear one. It's
It's a shame. It's such a good look.
You'll never see them batting in them anymore. That's the greatest shame.
Well, they're not allowed to, even if they want to, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Thorpe
would bat in a floppy. He would look nice in one. Oh, my Thorpes of long ago.
Well, you know what's gone out of the game from the 70s is those sort of pork pie white hats that people used to wear with the very narrow brims.
Oh,
like Eddie Hemmings.
Jack Russell.
Yeah,
style.
Jack Russell. Down the wicket comes Stokes. He's advancing towards Philander. He doesn't really time it. It goes to extra cover, no run. That's the way in which I was just being told that Joe Root got out in the first innings by advancing to Philander. He's a canny bowler. He may be coming to the end of his career, but he's accumulated vast experience. In fact, Stokes edged that into his boot and it cannoned away towards extra.
Well, Somerset fans must be licking their lips at the prospect of Philander joining them next year with the two Overton brothers and
Lewis
Leach
Gregory
and
I mean they've got a lot of bowlers, haven't they? They don't have much batting. That was their downfall this year. They may have to tidy up their pitches a bit for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Are you not a Somerset fan? Are
No.
Do you have a county allegiance?
Yes, I do. I sort of loose allegiance to Worcester. I mean, I was a huge Graham Hick fan as a boy.
The next ball from Philander is defended to cover.
The great kind of Worcester team of the late 80s.
Phil Newport,
Latter-day Botham,
Steve Rhodes,
Newport, Lampett,
Stuart
Leatherdale. You know, those
Leatherdale was never anyone's hero, was he?
Well, he was a great club man. Became chief executive as well, I believe.
Probably better at that than batting.
Probably, yeah.
Have we done a Worcestershire Gorilla Shire yet? I think maybe.
I think we have. Oh, good question.
Tom could be the man.
Tim Curtis.
Oh, Tim Curtis. Vern in again, shorter. Stokes goes on the back foot, turns it into the leg side, straight to short mid wicket. Is that the end of the over? It is. 182 for 3. Route 24, Stokes 4.
Tim Curtis, the last cricketer to wear tailored shirts, someone once told me.
Well, that might make a comeback.
Greg Smith says, I'm still fingers crossed for England requiring 30 with Archer and Anderson. Hashtag beaming, in fact. Hashtag delicious payback. Hashtag heads up cough.
Lots of hashtags.
Just a heads up, Greg Smith. I've let this go for a couple of days. When you're using the hashtag, don't have a space. The next word, there's no spaces basically in a hashtag if you want to establish a hashtag.
Doesn't accept it.
But I like your.
That the greatest advance Twitter could make would be to allow punctuation in a hashtag. As the first ball, the next over is Norture to Root. It's into the ribs of Root. He gets something on it. It goes fine on the leg side. They think about a single, but there isn't one there.
Arthur Patricia is reading my mind as well. I was going to suggest Vernon Philander as the CC Sabathia of cricket.
He's not quite as big as CC, who's about 6'6".
Arthur Patricia describes him as a genius, an artist, an athlete.
What about Bartolo Colon?
Yeah, not a chap who would disappear standing sideways. But he's still going, CC Sabathia, isn't he?
About 40, Bartolo Colon.
46, 47, these were pitchers, MLB pitchers. Oh, okay. But they're well into their 40s, right?
Yeah. As this is, a gap is found by Stokes between cover and mid-off. I'm not sure that's entirely where he was playing it. It gets most of the way to the boundary before being hauled in. 2 more runs to... No, that was to Root, not Stokes. Yes, it should be easy to tell those two apart. One's right-handed, one's left-handed. One's tall and ginger, one's shorter and blonde. But he's not that short, Root. He just gives you the impression of being shorter.
Yeah, he's taller than you think.
And you stand next to him. Whereas Moeen is actually, when you stand next to him, is much shorter than you think he is. Things you find out on Guerrilla Cricket as Norture's in again, and that one keeps a little bit low. Root digs it down into the ground where it bounces up towards second slip. Faf takes it above his head, no run.
Have we had an update on Root's health this morning?
He looks all right.
He looks okay.
He's in the runs.
Yeah,
see what I did there.
He obviously was not well yesterday.
Yeah, and Butler, it was him and Butler who. Butler certainly looks a bit peaky, waiting to come in, whether maybe Bairstow might be promoted to 6. But Root, looks okay, apart from that bang on his wrist, but he's...
Yeah.
He's looked comfortable as Nortje bowls Fuller, and this is sweetly timed
that's
through
a lovely
mid-wicket
shot.
by Root. It was a straight ball. Is it going to get to the boundary? It is. It crosses the boundary now. 4 more.
1, 2, 3, 4.
188 for 3. Target 376. Are we still talking about targets, or are we saying how many wickets South Africa need? Or we can say both.
Yeah.
Got plenty of time. So you're a musician, Tom, I understand.
I am, yes.
And I'm sure people can buy some of your work at a website, or
They can find me in all the usual spots, online and in shops.
singer-songwriter.
Yeah, singer-songwriter.
He's the next
So
Donovan.
my most recent album was Monsters in the Deep, and I was messaging some dear friends on the way here who were starting to cricket pun various tracks of mine. So we had, a song of mine with a Pretty Pride of Russia became the Pretty Drive to Cover, and my song Let Me Be Your Lover could be Let Me Be Your Rover, for example. So we have a few lulls from some of my hungover university pals.
A dot ball from Nortje to Root. So how would you describe yourself, comparing yourself to somebody else? That's how it's normally done in these situations.
I
As
guess
Nortje's in again and bowls a short ball over Root's shoulder, the cock takes.
perhaps my good friend Roger, as a critical ear, might do a better job of doing that than me. But my big heroes are sort of narrative-driven songwriters like Tom Waits and Randy Newman, Scott Walker. I sing. I've got a baritone voice. A sort of aged baritone is probably the
Not as aged as
best
Tom
way of
Waits,
describing
I
it.
wouldn't have
Not quite.
He came second in my
perhaps one day.
informal poll of best Christmas songs, with Christmas Card from a hooker in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
The live version, apparently. It's not really a Christmas song, but it mentions Christmas in the title.
Right.
So,
Well,
Rog,
then it is a Christmas song.
talk us through Tom's singer.
Well, I'll just refer. Neil McCormick of the Telegraph compared you to Leonard Cohen, didn't he?
Possibly. Yeah.
So
And you're still alive.
Yeah.
So
And I'm still alive. Yeah.
There was
He
a
did have a few years on me.
no, that's it.
Oh,
But
change of bowling, and this chap is coming into the attack.
There's a bowler there from South Africa. Started out bowling pace, but he made the switch. I wonder why, but he's known as Keshav.
He bowls to Stokes, who's not going to let him settle. He swept this from outside the off stump, and he's met it sweetly. It goes very square on the wicket, on the leg side and out to the boundary.
The number of the day. Who could ask for more? The number of the day is 4.
Yeah, in the first innings, Maharaj was hit, I think, for 2 sixes early on by Stokes, who is showing trying to set some dominance for this match and for the series.
I think Stokes has minimal respect for Maharaj's bowling.
As Maharaj bowls again, Fuller, and Stokes blocks it back to him. Dot.
we never did see that replay of that LBW shot, a sort of half shot that we thought was quite close. Just before lunch, he hit him on the back pad, but yeah, and even if they're men out, Stokes won't be afraid to target that leg side boundary.
Next ball is also a dot, as Stokes just blocks it back down the wicket.
Now from Stokes to Chokes, message says, "Essay or choking? That's a sure invitation to doom to come and force you to eat your words."
A long way to go. There's Keshav Maharaj in again, and Stokes is down the wicket. He drives this uppishly over extra cover. There is nobody out there. That's going to be 4 more runs. I keep forgetting I'm on jingles as well, but I am. Yeah, he's not trying to let Maharaj settle. He's hitting for 2 fours in this over. If it's not the bowler that's putting pressure, surely you'd think the match situation puts a little bit of pressure on Stokes, but he's not to be intimidated by either of them.
Been there, done that. That's how
Yeah, been
Stokes
there, done
feels,
that.
yeah.
And I think at this stage, with the target still a fair way off,
Yeah.
I don't think they'll be feeling any pressure at all, because there's no real expectation for them to chase this down. I think if they get within 100, that's when we'll start
Maharaj
to see
bowls
those
a little bit
famous.
shorter, and Stokes turns this on the leg side. I think it may have come off pad. They scamper through for a quick leg by, I'm guessing. Either way, it's a run to England, 197 for 3, and they are 179 runs short of winning this game.
Yeah, that's when the metal will be required, when we get in double figures, I think.
When.
Well,
Who knows?
yes, indeed.
England do have a tail. It broads in at 10.
It's a pretty long one by recent standards, isn't it?
Yes and no. As Maharaj is now round the wicket to the right-handed route. It's short and route cuts. Is there anybody out there? There isn't. That's an absolute gimme. Short and wide, 4 runs.
1 2 ka 4, 4 2 ka 1. My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
Let's get some tweets.
Abijato Sensarma has a proposal. We should play with the pink ball in test matches with 4 sessions of 24 overs per day. This allows players to be more refreshed and on top of their game, for example, during Aussie summer. Draws large crowds for play under lights too. Thoughts?
There's a lot to unpick,
Yeah,
but maybe we'll do it in the coming overs.
Yeah, I think it's too much fiddling around. Abijato, there's some logic to it, but old fart at play. My Christmas present, 100 not out to go with my other Irish cricket book, Damn the GAA.
Wow.
And Joe Arditi joins us for the first time on Twitter.
Welcome, Joe.
Says, hey Gorilla Cricket, can you ask Tom if he studied history of art at university? I'm sure I remember him from Manchester.
I see. We have he's sending down a vicious bouncer of the cheese pie variety.
Have you brought your fan club with you?
Hello, Joey.
We're going to change your bowling.
Thanks for joining us.
Hello, Joe.
This chap is coming into the attack.
Victorious. Victorious.
That's what I like about Jingles. Short and to the point. He's bowling right arm round the wicket to the left-handed Stokes. He's up to the wicket. Stokes turns this out very square on the leg side. The long leg comes round. Rabada, they do come back to 2. They push that hard. It's the type of thing that Hendo would say, do they need to be doing that? But they take 2 runs, 203 for 3.
Scandi Andy, we were just talking about you. He has got a posh new internet radio, so he's listening to us in his kitchen.
It was good to see you a couple of weeks ago.
Sends us a picture of it. Hello, Andy. Abhishek, the short-brimmed hat king is Sir Clive Lloyd. No arguments
Sir Clive
accepted
Lloyd.
Against this.
The trouble is we've been calling him Sir Clive for so long. Now that he's actually got his knighthood, it's slightly lessened the effect, hasn't it? Had pleasure of spending a lot of time with Sir Clive during this English summer.
Yeah.
You
introduced me to him. It was a
great man.
A great thrill.
He is a lovely man. He's so mild-mannered. As the next ball from Pretorius is turned by Stokes to the short mid wicket, you wonder how a man so calm and polite could steelily manage that fierce West Indies team of the 1970s.
Yes,
he just seemed to be a pussycat, really.
Steely is the word that I would have used to describe him as well. I mean,
yeah, there's obviously steel
truly
behind
great
the
man.
bonhomie, but very, very pleasant company. And congratulations from all of us at Gorilla Cricket and the wider cricketing world on your well-deserved honour as Pretorius is up to the wicket. Bowls and Stokes blocks. His kiss of death time, but Stokes is looking pretty comfortable.
Yeah, it is. Well,
It is kiss of death.
It's too early,
Yeah.
too early. But
Yeah.
No, I don't think it is too early. He's faced 50 balls and he's looking great.
He started that Headingley innings slowly.
Yeah,
without
yeah.
Wishing to 14 off 50. Where was he? I think he was like 3 off 60 balls.
It's
or
on.
something, and it's on again. Lightning to strike twice. Pretorius bowls and defended by Stokes quite comfortably into the offside. No run.
I just don't underestimate Pretorius. I think he's a really handy bowler, especially with the cock up to the stumps, the bull wicket to wicket, just nibble it around at a medium pace.
Yeah.
So.
Do you think that's the type of bowling that Stokes would least rather face in this kind of situation? Do you think he'd rather it
I
come
don't
onto
think
the
he
back?
thinks like that. I think he thinks he's probably over brimming with self-confidence. He seems like one of those players. As Pretorius is in again, shorter. Does he find the gap at mid-wicket? No, that's a good bit of fielding by. Who is it?
It's Rudy second. He's
Rudy second.
sub fielding
Is
for
he the
Markram.
first or the second?
He's the second choice wicket keeper, which is why he wears that on the back of his shirt. And it's his name.
Maharaj. Why are they showing us his figures? Oh, okay, it's to do with his economy rates. Not really relevant, so go away, Sky. 203 for 3, target 376, Pretorius in, and Stokes defends the last ball of that over, or is there one to come? No, there isn't. The end of the over, 203 for 3.
Here's a good one from Comrade Bernsky. Apparently Bartolo Colon is looking for a career in cricket. He's contacted several county teams to see if anyone is looking for a heavy roller.
Boom!
I like that.
Bartolo is loved in the baseball world because he's just a big, happy, fat man who's had a lot of success. And when he hit his first home run in a 20-year career, I think it's either last year or the year before, I mean, there was just an outpouring of joy. And the look of bemusement on his home face as he was rounding the bases was a joy to behold. Maharaj
this is
will be back into the attack.
Here's Pierre de la Touche on the tweets.
Great name.
Says, praise to you guys listening in the UK as no network coverage.
That's right.
Keep it that way.
And we're better than the network coverage anyway. Stick with us. If you are listening to us for the first time, welcome. We are Guerrilla Cricket. We are an internet-based commentary service. We do all of England's games. We do a lot of other games. We did the whole World Cup. We do India versus West Indies. We've done Australia games, Pakistan games, all sorts. Always worth tuning in to see what we have to offer us. Maharaj is round the wicket to Root. It's short and wide again as he beaten. Now there's a deeper set cover who gets round to prevent any more than a single. One more to Root, 35 to him. 204 for 3. So Tom, the Leonard Cohen, Tom Waits of, I mean, there's a bit of pressure there, isn't there?
I'll tell you another thing. Sorry, go on, Tom. A very good orchestrator of his music. Tom, you like instrument, a lot of interesting instruments interest you.
Nick Drake. So Maharaj bowls, on the back foot goes Stokes in defence.
Well, I adore Nick Drake's music, but it would be a stretch to say that I sound like Nick Drake, or that
certainly recently.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, some of those beautiful arrangements.
Oh, he's bowled! Maharaj has bowled Stokes. He was neither. Well, he sort of went back. Did he get an inside edge? Maharaj is absolutely delighted, and unsurprisingly, because this was the big wicket for South Africa, and Stokes has gone.
How's that? You messed about, I caught you out. How's that?
They didn't call him out. He was bowled, but I'd like to have a look at that again to see if he got an inside edge. He went back and played a sort of an indeterminate shot with a ball that turned back into him. No, he got a big inside edge, and he was a little bit unlucky there as it just cannoned into the outside off stump.
No, he's not unlucky. He's been
poor shot.
Poor footwork, and I guess a ball is turning into you.
Yeah, and I suppose he could have been caught had it missed the stumps. And Maharaj is, well, he's not quite doing a tahir, but he's not far short in his celebrations. But it is a big wicket for South Africa. It's a big wicket for England. Stokes shakes his head. It's quite difficult to say as he walks off, and the 4th wicket is down.
And you can't blame Maharaj for that reaction, because Stokes has looked to really go for him and to treat him quite disdainfully, actually. So he's had the last laugh.
Well, yeah, any spin bowler would happily trade a couple of boundaries for a wicket, and Maharaj has done the business, and we're into the ropey middle order of England, as I'm assuming the Ginger Ninja is going to be the next man in.
Yes, ready to show all 3 stumps to
everybody and anybody.
Rabada, no doubt.
Let's play his long jingle.
Johnny Best is smarter than the average Bairstow. Johnny Best has been this good since daycare, so all put on your wigs and let the crimson hand flow. I want the Pope to give him his own large prayer. Oh, he can hit the 6s, although it's so dark. He'd even run a 10 at Bradford Park Avenue. No other Yorkshireman can compare. I tell you, Johnny Best is smarter than the average Bairstow.
Well, a man whose Test career is very much in flux. He's into this game because Pope was injured, or rather ill, and he's on this tour. Why is he on this tour exactly? He was called up as a replacement, wasn't he?
Yeah, just an extra batsman, because Crawley and Pope are still in the squad, and a reserve keeper, I suppose, which he's already fulfilled, and he kept pretty well in the first innings.
He'll be facing up to Maharaj, who's round the wicket to him. That turns. Well, it started outside off stump, turned a little bit away. De Kock And an absolute fit of enthusiasm swiped the bails off for no apparent reason. Hopefully he's putting them back and not making the umpire run in 30 yards each way. But a big wicket, that of Stokes, so the Headingley comparisons can end as Bairstow plays a solid forward defensive to a loopy ball outside the off stump from Maharaj. What do the tweeters have to say?
Well, Pierre de la Touche, I'm English and you're more confident than I am. This was 9 minutes ago. What could possibly go wrong? I predict a collapse.
Well, the first wicket of the collapse is in as Bairstow defends. That last ball of Maharaj is successful over. He now has 2 for 30 off 13. England 204 for 4, Root 35, and Bairstow's just come in.
Well, of the many collapses that the England Test team have given us over the last few years, I mean, Bairstow must have been central to most of them.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you could say he's batting for his future here, Bairstow. If everyone's fit and healthy for the next Test, well, he shouldn't get in unless he does something amazing.
He'd have to do something really amazing, I think, to keep Ollie Pope out. I think it would be very cruel.
But if he wins the game with 99 not out from here,
I guess so. And actually, it was the last South Africa tour, wasn't it, where Bairstow really cemented his place in the team, and so maybe some of those good memories and good vibes can sustain him here.
His first ball of the new over from Nortje almost rolls along the ground outside the off stump to Root. Root is looking concerned, rightly so, because that pitched on a good length and almost rolled. Fortunately, it was too wide to trouble the stumps. Not Nortje, it was Pretorius.
Yeah. We've a new follower. Go to the local, and a friend of yours, maybe Thomas, said, "I'm not that hungover." It's a cheap shot from you.
Well, as someone who runs a Twitter account called Go to the Local, it wasn't a completely mistaken assumption that he might have had a couple of beers last night.
And Abhishek Chopra has some good cricket songs, hashtag cricket songs.
Pretorius bowls again. This cuts back in and catches Root on the thigh pad.
If we do have any London listeners, by the way, I'm sure there are a number, then I do recommend them checking out Go to the Local, actually, for excellent independent local pub recommendations.
We do love a plug on this show,
yeah,
but we'd like to get some money.
And not even my own plug.
How about these? Smells like under 19 cricket. These are cricket songs. Sweet Drive of Mine.
Wow, that's
Sweet Drive of
CD.
Mine is good. Yeah.
No. And Born to Run singles. Those are from Abhishek Chopra. Ling Mao is with us with some odds. England. This is 9 minutes ago, though. England were 6-5 with South Africa 18.
Root plays inside the line of the next ball from Pretorius. The slips and keeper lift their hands up as if to say he was beaten, but I'm pretty sure he didn't play at that.
Yeah, I'm grateful actually that that correspondent didn't say smells like teen cricket. They had the decency to amend that. So that's
it smells
classy.
Like under 19 cricket. Which we've covered on Guerrilla Cricket before. England, Namibia.
Oh, famously.
Wow.
England, Namibia. Yeah, we do all sorts. Some better than others.
Was that in Windhoek or in?
Well, Root walks across his stumps and takes a straight ball, and leg glances it fine of the man at long leg and down to the boundary for one of these. Well, that is a very risky shot with the ball keeping very low, I have to say. He's walked across his stumps and turned a straight ball very fine. He got 4 runs for it, but I'm not sure that's a long-term strategy for success.
That jingle's a timely one for me today, because my wife is hosting a baby shower for one of her best friends, and she's organising a quiz of songs. Oh, for this ball.
As Pretorius bowls inside edge from Root. He doesn't walk down the wicket this time.
She's organised a quiz of songs that all contain the word baby, including Baby One More Time. Oh, there are
many hundreds.
Myriad.
And any of your songs got baby in the title?
No, but it's got me thinking, obviously, that
get the baby shower market. There's a lot of money, money spent on those things these days. A lot of streaming.
Baby shower market. Pretorius bowls again. Root leaves outside the off stump. Well, the ball was outside the off stump, and Root leaves. baby songs. Cricket songs. We're doing all sorts today.
Sachin baby, no hurry down.
Yeah, well, the sounds of it, yeah.
Well, there is a Sachin baby.
I know, that's why I sang it.
Right, okay. Yeah, one of them will be bizarre name. What's happened to him? Is he playing in the IPL?
I'm not sure. Please tell us. We have a Sachin tweeting us now. Sachin Jangam says, "Well, Stokes is out now. Can Butler and bowlers dig England out of this difficult situation?"
He might not even get him.
Well, Felix Stock thinks not. He says doomed. And Nakul Pandey, our man on the spot, brings us news that Keegan Peterson has been drafted in for Aidan Markram, and so we'll probably open the batting on Friday.
Markram is
or Saturday.
He's a good player as Maharaj starts a new over to Bairstow. It's a nicely flighted ball on middle stump, which Bairstow defends.
Old Ford at play gives us driving home for Christmas. And he gets a reaction from our crowd, live audience.
Whatever happened to Chris Rio as the next ball is very full and Bairstow defence. A couple of years ago they were talking about him being very ill and we'd never heard any more. So if you're listening, Chris, hope all's well in the northeast or wherever it is you're from.
That is a classic Christmas song, Driving Home for Christmas.
Yeah, not one of my favourites. Shorter, and Bairstow off the mark with an easier 4 as you like. That's another pull ball from Maharaj. Yeah, he has dropped a couple short, and batsmen as good as this are not going to miss out on Drek like that.
Abhishek Chopra said, "Told you so," when he tweeted us earlier about Maharaj.
No one likes a gloater.
Well, he says, "You're welcome," with the glasses emoji.
There's Maharaj. He's got to get it right up closer to the batsman. He does this time, and Bairstow blocks. 212 for 4, 376 required, so I make that 162 more runs. It's not impossible, but with this England brittle middle and lower middle on tail, you have to think it's very unlikely. Silly points come into play as Maharaj bowls straighter and Bairstow defends.
Brittle, and we don't know really what state Joss Butler's in either.
No, but some of the great test innings have been made with people who've been
very
under
true.
the weather. I believe we're going to have a change of personnel after this over, or maybe not, as Maharaj bowls and Bairstow blocks again. And that's the end of the over. Are we having a changeover now or a little bit later? Tony's going to come in, and possibly Hendo as well. Tony, how many people are going out? I'm staying for another over and you can work it out. I'm staying where I am. Okie doke. What's happened to Hendo? I thought he was coming in to do some work.
Wow, that's Hendo. Is it?
200.
It is.
What's the score? 204 for 4 was the score when the wicket fell. And the score now is 212 for 4. So 160 runs needed, 6 wickets for South Africa to get. As Pretoria starts a new over, it's full and it's driven a little bit uppishly into the leg side by Root. The mid-wicket fielder is number 77, picks it up, and that was not an entirely confident stroke from Joe Root. Are you taking over the ball by ball, Toby?
I believe so, Fred.
Okay, well,
I am in the
take it away.
Prescribed position, which is the central one. 212 for 4. That rather has changed the complexion of the game, though, has it not? That
it has, but
shot by Stokes. Pretorius, he's in, right arm over. It's just pushed, nudged by Joe Root to backward point, and there was no run. So are you okay doing some tweets?
Yes, I'm fine. In fact,
fantastic.
Joe Arditi has correctly pointed out that I actually have written a song with baby in the title. Your Baby Was Asleep, which he says was the perfect feel-good baby shower banger.
A baby shower banger.
I'd like to hear the lyrics of that before I comment, to be honest.
Yeah. Pretorius in again. Forward comes Root. Strong and resolute Root.
The content of that shower, of that song, probably not appropriate for a baby shower.
Ah, so what's your métier? What's your genre of songwriting?
I write narrative-driven pop songs like Tom Waits, Randy Newman, that kind of ilk of.
Well, I'm liking both those references. We are looking at what
Storytelling.
is likely to be the new ball, by the way. A new Kookaburra due in just over 4 overs' time. Forward comes Root. Once again, no run.
And we got some love. How deep is your batting lineup? This is also from Abhishek Chopra, Bee Gees.
Hello, Abhishek. I missed the conversation. What are we trying to find?
Sort of cricket songs, punning on cricket songs.
So musical, any musical reference, but that can be related to cricket.
Exactly. So it started off with a couple of songs of mine, and thankfully
I'm with you.
The listeners are branching out.
Is left outside of the off stump by Root through to de Kock. No run.
So you're still Dewan, Shania Twain, or you're still Darwan?
Yeah, that works well.
He's
I like
the
that.
one. Robbie Williams cover of the World Party song.
Surely half of our jingles, in fact, probably
Yes.
3/4 of our jingles
They
fit
are.
that sort of
Yeah,
They do.
yeah.
slight adaptations of music to cricketing requirements. He's a chewer, isn't he, old Faf du Plessis? He's got a right old chewing jaw. Pretorius in, flicked off his legs by Root. There's a shout from Pretorius. Root really did nothing more than nudge it around the corner. There was then a throw which was misfielded by Maharaj, I think. And no one seems interested in any kind of review, and England get an additional single, and it concludes Dwayne Pretorius' 14th over. So that new ball will be due now in, is it 4 or 3 overs? And that might put a very different complexion on things. It just seems to me, Fred, England have been going nicely, and just when you think they're settled, things are settling down, they lose a wicket.
Well, it's the type of wicket where you're never entirely in, because it's still doing something. There's a lot of help for the bowlers.
Josh Butler to come, of course. Sam Curran, Archer, Broad and Anderson. At least one of those. Butler definitely has been very much under the weather. Maharaj is continuing. That kept very low.
Just rolled along the ground.
And Root, who had sort of stepped back and I think had visions of carving it away through backward point, did pretty well to actually ultimately just get a sort of a bottom edge on it, and it bounced down just in front of de Kock and then on to Faf du Plessis at first slip. But there's no bounce. So there's a bit of company for Root around the bat. He guides the ball between the two of them, the slip and the, well, what would you serve? Silly mid-off, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would call that. Correctly. But it was guided nicely between the two of them. Got themselves a single, so it'll bring Johnny Bairstow back onto strike. A man definitely with a point to prove, I would say, is Bairstow. The first innings told us nothing. Told us nothing more than that why he was dropped, and he just drops the bat on that. It goes straight to that fielder that we were discussing at silly mid-off. A lot to think about for Johnny Bairstow. Maharaj skips in, stylishly played, pushed away to cover, and again there is no run. 2:14 for 4. England again just got themselves going and then need to rebuild. Stokes, do you think Stokes will be disappointed with his shot?
I think he definitely will be disappointed with his shot. I mean, it was a sort of nothing shot, really, wasn't it?
Maharaj was again pushed away into deep cover where Vernon Philander, playing in his last series fields.
At best, he would have got a single, and just a little dab. He could have been caught, as Fred said, if he hadn't inside edged it.
Root knows what a captain's knock is needed now. And that one he guides to backward point. There's no run.
You just sense he's at his best. I guess like most cricketers are when he's being assertive and confident. A bit like Sibley's dismissal yesterday.
Yeah. Although before you'd arrived, we were sort of saying that it's almost like the incident in Bristol was a kind of a catalyst, since which his sort of style had always been to be quite circumspect and watchful, and then kind of to make sure he was well set before setting out on the attack. And I don't think it wasn't an aggressive shot. He was just trying to play a clever little dab, wasn't he? It wasn't like he was trying to carve the ball away. He was just trying to let the ball do the work.
Yeah, but even in his defence, when you're completely right. But he's been assertively defensive, if
Yep.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I do know what you
mean.
Well, here's a man, Johnny Bairstow, who's got the look of a man with intent. Let's hope that's the way he plays. It's very much a Yorkshire pairing that's going to have to grind somehow England towards their target. Bairstow's forward, pushes this ball from Pretorius just back past him. But Maharaj in floppy hat is stationed there at mid-off, and there'll be no run. So Johnny Bairstow on 5. He's in because of the dismissal, as we were just discussing, of Ben Stokes. So no repeat of Headingley heroics in a difficult chase for England today. Well, not from him, no. Pretorius in again, left alone outside the off stump by Bairstow, and no run.
You get the sense that the Roots would really love it if Bairstow could deliver here, don't you? I mean, they're such good mates off the pitch, and
yeah, they are. You know, Yorkshire men. Bairstow by default had the gloves back, didn't he?
Yeah.
Butler ill, Pope ill. I remember tweeting yesterday, just for fun, a picture of Hercule Poirot, saying, "So where were you, Bairstow, Mr. Bairstow, when both Butler and Pope went missing?" Yeah. As Bairstow leans into this, pushes it away to cover.
Well, a penny for
and again,
Ben.
there's no run.
Sorry, a penny for Ben Folkes' thoughts as well, of course.
Oh, that's a much discussed subject.
I'm sure it is.
Particularly as there appear to be a few guerrillas who are also Surrey fans. Present, not us.
You
not,
don't
not
have to be
Fred
a
and
Surrey
I.
fan to think that Folkes should be in the
Well, no, I go along with that too, because I think he's batted. Although he didn't really cover himself in glory in the Championship with the bat last season, did he?
He's far and away the best keeper.
But he is technically, we think, the best keeper. As forward comes Bairstow, pushed to mid-wicket once again. No run. 2:15 for 4.
Just on Bairstow, an excellent song pun here from Darren Macy. I would do anything for gloves.
And I
but I won't do that.
But I won't do that.
Well, yeah.
No, indeed. I like that. That's very good. Well, obviously, bat out of hell, if you want to sort of carry that theme on.
And Messi Jazz says assertively defensive is simply the legal definition applicable in Bristol to a punch-up.
Oh, there you go. Yes.
Very good.
Oh, well, indeed, as this one's pushed away to cover again by Bairstow off Pretorius, and there was no run. Short, cropped of hair is
short at the
Pretorius.
sides.
Short at the sides.
Very fashionable nowadays, judging by the cricket teams.
Yeah. Well, no, that's what I always ask for when I go to the barber. Shorter at the sides, what there is on top, leave it slightly longer. Pretorius in again, right arm over. Bairstow's being very correct, isn't he? And is able to just to push this away to mid-off again, and no run. Concludes that over. How many overs have we had completed, Fred?
That's a good question.
Because it is going to be, that new ball must be very, very close indeed.
Yeah,
we have
2 overs away.
78, yes, 2 overs away. You are right. And I would imagine, I'd be surprised if they didn't take it pretty quickly, wouldn't you?
Oh, I think they will.
Unless
they're
they get
well rested, the opening bowlers.
Unless they get a quick replacement. Sorry, what am I saying? Oh, I'm reading about injury replacement for Aidan Markham. They're not going to get. Well, they are going to get a replacement ball. Yeah.
Yes,
unless they get a quick wicket,
which is an interesting name. He's coming in for Markham.
Yep. Up onto his toes goes Root, slices this away through point, where Philander, who is a pretty unmistakable figure these days, being as he's pretty solid, isn't he?
Yep.
Thick set, but what a bowler. I mean, he averages with the ball, doesn't he, sort of the low 20s, and he averages with the bat in the mid 20s. That's a pretty impressive statistic. As Bairstow pushes this away, I think you could call him a genuine all-rounder.
Yep.
On the basis of that, even though most people would think of him as a bowler, but his batting, certainly in this test,
number 8, I don't
stood up very nicely. Maharaj skips in again. Bairstow is not going to take any chances.
Do you think Bairstow's happier facing the spinner here or the seamers?
Well, I suspect he's happier facing the spinner. Those big owly eyes of Quentin de Kock are peering over his shoulder. And Bairstow steps across in front of de Kock and just pushes this away. Back to the bowler.
Yeah, you worry about Bairstow facing the second new ball, just nibbling in and out.
Yeah, there's that gap.
Yes, that
appears between not the Watford gap, the Bairstow gap. And again, forward he comes. Yeah, I mean, he looks like he could do this all day without any great degree of discomfort. He's just getting his front foot forward. He's letting the ball come onto the bat and pushing it back to the bowler. It's been sort of repetitive stuff. Whereas you think the extra pace might set him a different problem or two, as he once again rinse and repeat, although this is pushed a little bit squarer in the sort of general direction of mid-wicket.
He was actually beaten by pace in that first innings, wasn't he? I mean, he got his bat roughly in line just too late.
Yeah. Well, he went away to work on his technique, and originally
how's that working out for him?
Well, originally he wasn't. Did he appear in New Zealand in the end? He did, didn't he? Because of injury, wasn't he there for? Am I dreaming?
Yeah, he just seemed to find a way of play even when he's dropped.
Yes, just because other wicket keepers mysteriously disappear overnight.
I don't know what you're suggesting there.
Merely just in jest. I don't really think he sneaks around to their room and poisons their cereal in the morning. Although whatever has been ravaging this England touring party, it's by all accounts
isn't it?
Not very pleasant. Pretorius again, anyway, is going to continue, and this is steered away to cover. And is that our friend Mr. Second?
It's like outbreak.
That's like it is.
It's not so unlikely, though, in a touring team where they spend a lot of time together.
Well, they do. They travel together. I mean, aeroplanes are notorious for
hotels,
spreading germs,
eating together a lot and training. So it's going to
happen once one gets it. It's like dominoes, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean the South African squad and coach.
As Pretorius is in, kept low, and Root though hadn't really raised the bat at all. It was almost as though he anticipated that, and is very solid behind it.
They must be doing their best to avoid any contact with anyone in the England camp whatsoever. It's lethal.
Well, they've been having two dressing rooms. They've literally had two dressing rooms. It's like going back to the old days of the gentlemen and the players. Now you've got the healthy and the not healthy.
We should be sending Butler around to breathe all over the South Africans.
Well, that might be a way of doing it. Let's have him standing up from the first ball. It's too late now, isn't it? Because that won't be relevant to the next test. As Pretorius is in, flicked off his legs nicely by Joe Root, past the square leg umpire. They'll take one. They will come back for a second. And that second new ball, who won't be delivered by Mr. Second,
is over away.
It's not. It's three balls away now. So we would all be surprised, I think, having discussed it, if it wasn't taken immediately. I'm sure Maharaj would be quite happy to have another couple of twirls of his arm. This one's driven back towards Pretorius by Root. Pretorius drops a big meaty right paw on it, and there is no run. Bowling from the pavilion end at Supersport Park. We're just sort of about northeast of Johannesburg, aren't we?
Yeah, it's not very far.
A fair bit.
In between Pretoria and Johannesburg, is that right?
Yeah, it is. Sort of the northern part of South Africa.
Or so from Johannesburg, I think.
In comes Pretorius again. Root waits for that, watches it, and just steers it to backward point. No run. 2:18 for 4. One ball left of this over, after which we are anticipating the new nut will
Who's going to take it?
Taken by it won't be taken. It will be requested. Yeah, Rabada. One would think Rabada. Yeah,
we haven't seen him so far this session.
Well, as if on cue, we're seeing a close-up of him. Oh, and that one comes back in. It's a huge shout. Umpire Paul Rifle shakes his head quite decisively. There was definite movement. And I think he probably had Fred.
The question is if he got
rightly.
an edge on that. It was rebounded to slip where it may have been taken on
Well-
the full, so it may be an either-or appeal
Yeah.
straight review.
Faf seems disinterested. He's still vigorously chewing his gum. But have they asked for a review? I don't
No, I think,
think they have. I think the discussion is all about the new ball and not about whether they would review that. Although there's definite movement. I'll have another look at it for you. It just cuts back in. It was high. Root was outside of off stump, and I think it probably was going over. It hit him above the knee roll.
Doesn't bode terribly well for the new ball, though, does it?
Well, no,
Yeah.
the old ball, that was a pretty sharp delivery. You're right, Fred, because the man at the second of the slip there was diving forward. And was that a big old inside edge?
No, I don't think he did, actually. It
No,
hit the,
he
hit the
didn't.
flat.
Pitched outside off. The impact was outside. It was outside the line.
Yeah.
And height, potentially, but a secondary of those issues. And it is indeed going to be Kagiso Rabada who will take the new ball.
What's his name? He's a high roller, rock and roller, scariest, deadliest, killingest bowler. He can sink your oats like the Spanish Armada. No one faster, no one harder. What's his name? What's his name? Tell me, what's his name? KG.
And he's bowling from the Hennops River end. He's got two slips, flicked off his legs immediately. And is that going to go all the way to mid-wicket? Yes, it is. So 4 runs.
Now my innings going, great guns, I hit the ball. 4 runs, I hit the ball, and it went for 4 runs.
So not an auspicious start for the new Cherry.
Good
It
shot.
was beautifully flicked away through mid-wicket by Johnny Bairstow.
Lovely floaty half volley on the pads, wasn't it?
What more could you want?
Yeah.
As a confidence builder, I rather predict the next one will be bang on a length and will be a different proposition. Let's see. In comes Rabada. Fuller! It's taken!
No.
And I'm afraid Johnny Bairstow still has massive questions to answer. And Joe Root looks on disconsolately.
I mean, that is
in horror
so
as Bairstow gives away his
poor.
wicket. It was poor.
The only thing that could be worse for Bairstow there is had he reviewed being caught at slip.
Well, he was, as a substantial bit of a way swing, but he's looking on to drive. Was it slip or gully, really?
Gully.
It was good, gully, yeah, because it's very wide, which just shows you how wide it was, really. It pitched well outside of off, went further away, and Bairstow's feet stayed planted while he chased a ball that was very wide indeed and going further wide.
Very wide. I mean, 7th stump wide.
But Hamza, he just had to stand there and it came straight to him. So Bairstow's gone for 9. The questions remain. We've seen nothing in these 2 innings.
No, I don't think the questions remain. I think the questions
Well, the question is
have been
answered, and sadly. Well, I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt because when he's good, he's very, very good. Sadly,
It's been a while.
When he's bad, he's not obviously not quite so good. We are, I think, watching the ad Mog was referring to yesterday with Kylie Minogue in it. In the meantime, under those rather sad circumstances for England of another lost wicket, do we have any more tweets?
We do. We got a couple more from Abhishek Chopra. He says, quiz question.
Oh, good.
Does anyone know who Chris Rogers' only first-class wicket is?
Ooh, Fred, that sounds like something we should know. Do you know?
I definitely
No.
don't know that.
don't
So
think I've
perhaps
seen it
any eager Beaver listeners without the aid of Google.
Well, I could say I could look it up. That's a really, really good question. I don't know.
Was it a test wicket or a first-class wicket?
Ooh. Clarification question, Abhishek.
Not that it makes any
Test or
difference.
first class?
It's first class.
It's a first class, not a test wicket.
But I'm assuming that there must be some kind of notable aspect to this
Probably
statistic.
Alistair Cook or somebody.
Yeah, it could be. It could well be. Okay, so we've got that.
So we've
What
got
else
that,
do we
and then Jonathan Northall, perhaps clutching at straws, has sent through a graph that shows Steve Smith's batting average, which is just slightly declining over the last few months. Gone down from, well, where's that, up at 64.5 now to the meagre below 63.
He's on the wane.
So he's on the
Indeed.
way, but not much.
Wagner's got him 2 or 3 times with short balls in this series for New Zealand.
Wagner's been...
He's very good, isn't he?
Tricky bowler.
Well, he is.
He offers something
was
different.
expensive. He's been expensive in certainly in this last test at the MCG, but he just keeps hammering in, doesn't he? He's got a massive heart. He just keeps going.
New batsman for England.
It will
ain't
be.
no loss, 'cause we've found someone subtler. Okay, he can't spell Joss, but he also can't spell Butler. Joss Butler. Just because he is Joss Butler.
About 150 needed by England, and this one beats Butler first ball up. It's not as well. That'd be as Butler. They wouldn't have crossed, would they? It must be Root.
No, he didn't have time for them to cross.
Not
very quickly.
Not with a ball that just was guided straight.
You say it went
to,
straight to him, but it got there quickly, and it
Hamza.
was about sort of neck height, and he jumped and took it with both hands.
Yeah, but it was
expect
one you would expect to catch.
Yeah.
But from a Bairstow's perspective, it was a desperately poor shot.
Stung the
I'm
palms.
afraid. Rabada in, and that one swings and full. He's looking for that full length Yorker, and again. Butler has to sort of lean forward and doesn't quite get bat on that.
I'm afraid the listeners are not happy with Mr. Bairstow. I mean, we've had an absolute tirade.
I don't think we are.
Of despair is probably the best way of describing it.
Average is 33, Joss Butler. He may also be not completely feeling at his best.
He's probably lost a few kilos in the
He's
last
might
24
well
hours,
have done.
hasn't he?
And,
He's
I
not
think
got many spare.
I've got a feeling that's the first one he's laid bat on, that third ball that he's faced, and he just steers it away to backward point. We are seeing camera close-ups of Vernon Philander, so there is highly likely, or high probability that he will have the second use of this new ball, which Rabada is about to bowl the final ball of his over with, and that one was an absolute corker of a delivery, just shaded in and then moved away off the pitch. Butler jumped up onto the back foot. It beat him all ends up, but he was, as they say, not good enough to get a touch, I think, on that particular occasion. And 2:22 for 5 is the score. Wickets recently gone down, of course, both once again to injudicious shots, although I think Bairstow's was more culpable perhaps than Stokes, even though I know we weren't happy with Stokes' shot, but I think Bairstow's was straight to the naughty step, I'm afraid. Whereas Stokes would be a mild telling off, Bairstow would be a I don't know.
Well, the Bairstow shot
permanent suspension
has a. I mean, I don't want to use a word like unforgivable, but it's the mental aspect of that shot which is so concerning. He just shouldn't be anywhere near that ball.
Shouldn't be anywhere near the test.
Well, I think you're right. I think Not Fred's nailed his colours firmly to the anti-Bairstow mask.
Well, at the moment, I mean, he's just in no form whatsoever. He's not been selected for this game. He's in because other people are injured. And let's jingle up the bowler from the other end.
Well, as expected.
Oh, well, I'm the type of guy who will never settle down. Where pretty girls are, well, you know that I'm around. I kiss a man, I love him, because to me they're all the same.
Just as well he's retiring.
He's retiring from Test cricket, but Test cricket's loss will be very much Somerset's again next season. And if I was a Somerset fan, I think I'd be thoroughly looking forward to having... He does look, though, as if he may already have been training on pasties and cider. But that hasn't stopped him being unerringly accurate.
Does he put the jam on the cream or the cream on the jam?
Oh, well, you'd have to ask him, Fred. I don't know that level of detail.
There's plenty of cream.
I could give you. I'll give you some of his test stats if you like, but I'm not quite sure about his what do we call it?
Preference.
What do you call it? Cream tea preferences. Anyway, he's in, right arm over, slow. Look, so he seemed to have rolled his fingers across that.
I'd have given Nortje a burst.
Would you? I think if you've got, under these circumstances, a player of the just relentless accuracy of Philander, I think you've got to give him the. I think you've got to give it to him.
And let's not be too cynical about this. Okay, let's. But Nortje gives you something else, which is the ability to break fingers.
Well, true.
The first test of a 4-test series on a pitch that's shown some steepling bounce.
You're a hard man, Fred.
Well,
you're a hard man.
Sir Clive Lloyd said to me once, I'm going to be hard in this game.
As Clive Lloyd said to me once, who are you? As this was pushed away into the offside, no run. 2.22 for 5.
He's going to take hundreds of wickets in county cricket, isn't he? I mean, if you think about the guys like of his kind of pace and action, he's like
Stevens,
or Tim Murtagh. Yeah. He's not going to concede any runs in April in Northampton and in Bristol. He's going to.
They're not going to play Northampton or Bristol. In the wrong division.
No, they weren't. Northampton went up.
Oh, Northampton went up.
Fred,
yes.
My friend.
Apologies
as this one
to our Northampton
swung at by Root, and Philander again gets that ball to swing in the air and just a little bit off the pitch. And Root had a good old heavey-ho at it.
Hendo's preparing a rant as he walks past it.
I think
he's through the door.
He's got it's kind of pre-rant pose, isn't it?
Well,
he's like a policeman rocking back on his.
Hendo, you can't plan rants; they have to be spontaneous.
Oh, I don't know. I think he's like Vesuvius now, waiting to erupt. As in comes Philander, and again this one, Root. Now, if Johnny Bairstow, if you'd like to have a look at what Joe Root did there.
Well,
he basically just watched it pass, left it, because he would have had struggled to reach it, whereas you, Johnny Bairstow, decided that trying to reach for it would be a good idea. 2.22 for 5. There's all sorts of signalling and semaphore going on between. It's like tic-tac men at Punchestown.
33-1. Double cut.
I'm going to tweets. Apparently, they won't let me near jingles again. Only under the direst of circumstances am I allowed near jingles.
Or tweets.
I think that may be a point being made, that comparison between Root and Bairstow. And again, it's the away swinger. And again, Joe Root gives it short thrift and has nothing to do with it. Thrift. Short what is
thrift.
It? What's the word?
I know he's a Yorkshireman. Short thrift. Short thrift is not a great nickname for Joe Root.
I'm not paying for that. Too wide. No. But anyway, I think the point the cameraman or the directors were making was Johnny Bairstow did this and Joe Root did this, and one of them is still there and one of them isn't. As in comes Philander, and again it's the away swinger, and again it's left by Joe Root, and we will have a change. It's 47-1 here at Pontefract.
On a little couch, and just like an old biddy, they need to stretch and slouch. It's been a few overs coming, but to the sofa, change gon' come. Oh yes it is.
Ooh, what's wrong with Joe Root? He's having some medical supplies brought out to him.
Well, it could be dehydration probably after
yes.
Sluices having been opened at both ends, I think, in the last few days.
It is an interesting point. Most of us, when we get dehydrated and have those sort of problems, then we just take to our sofas or our beds and drink liquids. But actually, if you have to be out there expelling even more liquids effectively, in comes Rabada, bowls to Butler, who's also been expelling liquids of various sorts over the last day or so. And how's he going to get on? He's left that one outside the off stump. Now, I want help from the Guerrilla Fraternity. I want you to please see if you can find the brain cell, the one brain cell that the England team has, and find where they've put it and return it to them, please.
I think they shat it out, Hendo.
Oh, that may
collectively.
Be it. Oh, of course. 2 slips in a gully, quite a fine gully. Goes after this, does Joss Butler, but I think they put a man back for that shot. Indeed they have, Philander. And, well, at least Butler is off the mark. I am Gorilla Hendo, sometimes known as Cat Sitting Hendo. Nigel Henderson. I've got many, many names and many, many failures. On my right, back, as England try to hold out till tea, is Roger McCann, Roger Pineapple on Twitter.
Hey, dudes.
And on my left is the Bish. The Bish has moved. He's just shifted slightly. He's made a short shift.
Short shift, not
to his left.
What was the word I was looking for?
Shrift.
Yep.
And you said thrift.
Did I?
Short thrift.
Well, what is it? Short
shrift.
Shrift.
Yes.
What is it? What is a shrift?
Well, exactly. But I don't know. But that's the phrase. That's the phrase.
He gave something short shrift, which means he kind of ignored it or didn't want anything to do with it, right?
Shrift. Come
so
on.
Shrift. It must be an attention or.
We have linguists out there. We have linguists out there who can help us with this.
That's not the first time today that's happened. In fact, it's probably the second or third time today that Roots had to back away.
Well, he's probably waiting for one of those pills to kick in or something.
Yeah.
Oh no, he was doing it again. No, that's just a replay.
I think that's a replay.
Now we're live, and this leaps up. Root wants a leg by as it springs out towards Gully, but Josh just had a thought. Josh doesn't fancy it. I mean, you've got the two illest men. The two of the illest men are out there batting for England
there
now.
There could be plenty of runs between them, I would imagine.
Boom, boom, I think we did
many people joining us on Crick Tracker when we get a brief chance.
Okay.
I'll let this next ball come.
Have a look at our pinned tweet. I've done a poll to see how long England will last. It might be a very quick poll. This is outside the off stump, left alone by Root. Root's batted well. He's gone to 43.
Umar Farouk says England will win. I think that might be a while ago, Umar Farouk. Praful Marv says South Africa will win, probably more likely. Kaiser Ramadarana says it's a game of round ball. When the game will be changed, no one can say that. It's rather philosophical and deeply incomprehensive. Kaiser Ramadarana says that's a great song. Let's see, Zabriel. Ken Young, very professional. I don't know if he's referring to us.
Certainly can't be talking about the England batsman, can he? Surely not.
Possibly was referring to us. You never know.
Rabada in. Ooh, now that was back of a length and it sprung off this pitch. It was left alone by Root, but it came back in at him and, well, it was short enough that it would cleared the stumps by some distance, but it did arrow back in.
Nathaji Nalana says SA Wind, which I think is what Root and Butler are suffering with, although I suspect what he really means is SA Win. For some reason, he got an extra D.
I think there may be a bit more than wind.
Mohammed Amin Hamdard says, hi, hello to you.
Rabada again to Root. He comes back, hits him on the pad. There's an appeal, but I think it's going down leg. Chris Gaffney's not interested. Rabada wasn't convincing. And Root survives. That's the end of the over. England are 223 for 5.
Just to conclude on Crick Tracker there, Salatiel Ferreira de Almeida, which is a phenomenal name, says hello. Back on Twitter, Phil Withnail says institutionalised pessimism, love it.
It's better than institutionalised racism. I think institutionalised pessimism is a thing that we should encourage, to be honest.
Indeed. I need to see how far back we had gone. The estimable Arthur Patricia says, on the plus side, at least there's now no tricky selection choice when Pope's fit again.
Indeed.
Arthur Patricia also said 1.4 overs of tomorrow with some deeply peeved GC commentators snarling in their dressing gowns.
Oh, he certainly will be if we have to come in tomorrow.
Can we phone in? Can I phone in my contribution tomorrow if we're like 9 down?
I think we just send the bear in, shall we? Just send the bear in and get him to do it all on his own.
For misdemeanours this morning of not being around when we needed him.
Exactly. 2 slips in the gully for Philander as he comes in for the first time to Butler, who leaves the ball, which is gently swinging away from him.
Mark Thorne says, of course, Nokia will take hundreds of wickets in county cricket. It's on average worse than the England Test team, and look how bad they are.
I'm not sure.
We were talking about Philander. Is Nokia coming to play in county cricket?
Yes, and I did see something about it yesterday, and I can't remember who he's going to play
I didn't
for.
see that. I was because we were talking about Philander in that context with Somerset.
Yeah, Philander goes to Somerset, and I did see Nokia mentioned in that context, but I didn't see which team he was going to, if indeed that was actually completed in terms of a deal or just a rumour or what. Philander in, bowls swinging away too far from Butler, who can leave it alone, scratches out his guard again. Just 123 Ks. We were sort of mulling on the fact, weren't we, that the Philander looked a little bit flat this morning. He's got a new ball in his hand that might have given him a bit more impetus, but only at 76 miles an hour at the moment.
Yeah, I think Burns played him very well this morning. Burns soaked up about 4 overs from him this morning with very good judgment, and then Philander's had to do quite a lot of fielding, which we know is his least favourite activity. But certainly the new chair in his hand will give him some zip.
Yep, he's in, bowls to Butler once more. It's the one that goes away, and you wonder, is he setting him up here for a straighter one, or one that holds its line, or even comes back slightly?
Very consistently with that one that's pitched just outside of off stump and just goes and swings away.
Further away.
And of course it was too good for Johnny B, who couldn't resist.
Well, no, that was Rabada, wasn't it? That was
Rabada. It was, yes, sorry, what am I saying? Of course it was.
I think Johnny B got lured in by the fact that he got a leg stump half volley first ball, which he did do.
Absolutely put away very nicely.
Loves that.
And then he thought he was on 109.
Yeah, this is just like playing the white ball game. Philander in, Butler back. This one a little bit shorter, keeps low-ish. He has to sort of jab down on it, steers it into the covers.
Messi Nugez, who's just as messy as the old Jez, we suspect. YJB figures in 2019.
Ooh.
Tests 10, runs 334, best 52, average 18.55.
Best of 52.
Prior to 2019, he got 3,696 at 37. So there has been a sharp decline.
Has he just been worked out? Has he been playing against better bowlers? It's a tricky one, isn't it? Has he played too much one-day cricket? And this again is wide of the off-stump, swinging away, and then really rather dribbling through to de Kock on the second or third bounce.
Yeah, Nicky, who is a Somerset bagpuss.
Oh, indeed.
Says Johnny B has 2 brain cells. Sadly, neither of them is inhibitory.
I'm just worried about the connection between them. I'm not sure that they actually work together. I'm sorry. I mean, no one wants to see that about Johnny. I mean, you want him to do well. Of course you do. You just get so frustrated. You know he's a better player than that. Philander in, bowl, straighter one. That was the straighter one. And Butler covering up, defends it back to him. And that is the end of the over. Maiden, I think it was 223 for 5.
Oh, now here a bit of messy Nugez, as ever. Good educational content. Short shrift, originally a rushed sacrament of confession (shrift), given to a prisoner who was to be executed very soon.
Blimey!
So basically, your firing squad's waiting outside, and you've got to get it over with quickly.
And you're told get a move on.
So your shrift is short. Presumably has the same impact, and you end up just as dead.
So you can't even sort of experience the long, slow walk out to your death, your doom.
Well, no, the walk may be long and slow.
We haven't got time. We haven't got much time. We need to shoot you.
I think that's fine.
Outside the off stump again, dying on its way through to de Kock. It's Rabada starting a new over, bowling to Joe Root. Joe Root's on 43 from 90 deliveries.
The wonderfully named Pierre Delatouche says, as an Englishman, I am readying myself for a bout of depression.
Well, I mean,
join us.
I think I've been in that state for about 10 years, and it's only got worse in the last couple of months. Here comes Rabada, 1 for 78. He's into his 20th over. He bowls to Root. Root goes back, drops the bat down on it, very close to him, in front of off stump. Ball bounces up high to the man coming in from cover point. And Root goes down to pat down the pitch.
I think with Bairstow, he had that fantastic 2016.
Yes, he
where
did.
He broke most runs by wicketkeeper. He had 1,400 runs in that calendar year.
Yeah,
which was astonishing. And it all got going in this series when he made that big 100 in partnership with Stokes.
Short ball, not that short, and Root had to get down quite low to avoid that. Yeah, I mean, I had some hope for Johnny Bairstow coming out into this tour, in the sense that his average and his record in South Africa is pretty good.
Yeah,
averaging 77 before this Test match. That will obviously have slumped to about 13. And it actually takes quite a lot of poor innings. Sorry, I was just going to say, it just takes a lot of poor innings to bring your average down a long way. But it's now sort of mid-30s, no better than that at all, 34 maybe. Onto the back foot goes Root, trying to glide this down to third man, only finds Gully.
Yeah, and I suppose that bought him some time, you know, when he. But how long? That's now 3 years. I think I'd love to know his test figures since the start of 2017.
But it's kind of tough, isn't it? It's kind of tough when you've been left out of the side for and brought back in, and you probably weren't expecting to play.
No, I won't buy any of these. He's played 70 tests.
Yeah,
and I do think the one-day factor is relevant.
I think it certainly is with him, and with maybe one or two other people. But again, just dropped into the offside by route. There won't be a run as Elgar comes in. Yeah, he seems someone who doesn't really make the transition very easily.
Yeah, and then of course that coincides with England, you know, beginning the cycle, targeting the World Cup, and Bairstow being a key ingredient and a fantastic, maybe the best, well, one of the top 3 one-day openers in the world.
Yeah,
and the job done. You know, he brought home the silverware. But was he good enough to operate at both formats?
Oh, well, what happened there? Root was trying to drive off the back foot, then found the ball, really didn't bounce as much as he wanted, and was really feeling for it in the end. Rabata stands and looks at him. Root looks back and says, what on earth is that about? Why is this pitch deteriorating so quickly? Why is the bounce becoming so uneven? No answers to those, really.
Why do the birds go on singing?
Why do the birds go on singing?
Lawrence Jameson says...
do they, though?
They do. 2 patients at the crease, England almost critical.
Oh, yes.
Sean T,
Very
a.k.a. Nestle Boy, has sent us a lovely picture. Now listening by the Med.
By the Med?
Right. Med.
He's getting around, isn't he? He's getting around.
Well, he was in a cave this morning.
He's in a cave?
So he's gone from his cave to the beach.
No, he was in the cave yesterday.
Oh, was it yesterday?
Yesterday he was in the cave. This morning he was dreaming about KP and me fighting.
Yes.
And...
for which we got that. Hopefully you retweeted that wonderful.
We sent it to KP to see if
he responds.
Philander, straight ball, clever ball, which has Butler playing slightly around in front of his pad to steer it to Maharaj at mid-wicket.
Our friend Pierre Dalatouche has actually said it's not just the new ball squirting everywhere. Have you been to the England dressing room?
Hey,
oh dear.
We've had many varieties on that joke.
I'm sure you have.
Funnily enough,
I am.
Says something
sure
about our
you
listenership, if not our commentators.
Well, I think people in general.
Yes, I think so.
It's one of those things that is bizarrely funny unless it happens to you.
Yeah. Now that did swing, and it took off a little bit from not Rabata, Philander. It didn't endanger Root in any fashion because it was too wide.
And as if to take up that theme, Comrade Bernsky says, with Root and Butler's current predicament and the terms trotting through for a run and blocking an end spring to mind.
Yeah, we had blocking an end yesterday. Actually, takes me back. I don't know if you've ever read the Miles Jupp book, Fibber in the Heat, where he impersonates a journalist and goes on tour to India.
Oh, I've heard you talk about it, but not read it.
I like Miles, but the first chapter's awful. I don't know why, but there is, and the rest of the book's really good. Defended by Butler out square on the offside.
Also kept low though, didn't it? That one.
Did keep it there. Well,
really
it is keeping.
On it.
Yeah, it is keeping quite low. But there is well, I suppose it's obligatory that you have to have the Delhi Belly chapter. And I have to say, when it comes to Delhi Belly and stories about Delhi Belly, Miles Jupp chapter on that in that book is one of the funniest things I've ever read. I was falling about.
You're definitely selling it to me. I might try and lay my hands on that.
But I don't know why. The first chapter is really dull, but it gets a lot better.
It's like a Stokes innings.
Philander in, bowls, again swinging it away. Again, Butler leaves, 16th ball he's faced. He's just got a single. Every ball he seems to be scratching out his guard again. I don't know whether it's just a sort of habit or a slightly...
Ali Backer, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Ali Backer, yeah.
Who's the gentleman next to him, I wonder?
I thought Ali Backer was dead. What is this? I keep...
Looking at him there, it's hard to tell.
People keep dying. And then I find out the people that I think are dead aren't actually dead. There's something very strange going on. I thought Jackie Hampshire was dead for years before he actually...
Till finally he was?
Till finally he was.
Okay.
Till he shuffled off his mortal coil. 223 for 5. Philander in again. Oh, now he almost drew Butler in this time. He bowled it closer to off stump, still a little bit wide. And Butler just at the last moment realised he didn't need to be playing at it. And snatched his bat out of the way. None for 31 for Landers figures as we focus on some
I'd
A
imagine
bevy of beauties.
I'd imagine they're wives and girlfriends, aren't they?
They
Or are they
possibly are.
just beauties who happen to be there?
Well, a bevy of beauties enjoying a beverage or two.
Absolutely.
Why
wouldn't
Mark
you?
Bairstow is on his radio. He's got. I don't know. Has he got something in Philander's ear? He drives, and he drives well. Didn't really get his foot to the ball, but he sometimes doesn't need to. And that was gloriously put away by Butler. Goes to 5. 2:27 for 5.
Now my innings going, great guns. I hit the ball, 4 runs. I hit the ball, and it went for 4 runs.
Could argue he didn't need to be playing at that one either, in terms of its line. But he thought to himself, I've got to get a few runs while I'm out here. I might as well go after this one, and he played it exceptionally well.
Yeah, his movement into the ball was good. His weight, okay, he doesn't move his feet much, Butler, but that's his method. But
Yeah.
his weight was good, and he's had a good look at Philander now.
Mm.
He backs himself to take him on.
Yeah, and I think actually, if you see from side on, there is more of a movement than I initially thought, actually, in terms of his foot, his front foot. Sometimes you don't always pick that up, looking straight down the wicket. Rabada back into Root, and Root punishes this one outside the off stump. He sends it flying away, all the way pretty much along the ground, through gully for one of these.
That's about the third time he's played that cut shot. It looks as though he's not quite giving himself enough room. It's not like what you'd call a free flow of the bat, is it? It's almost like he's playing it in a very compact way.
A chop, it's almost a...
It's more of a chop than a cut, isn't it?
Sometimes he guides it, sometimes he chops it. This is straighter and fuller, and he defends on the front foot back to Rabada. Root moves on to 47 with that shot.
Messi Jez says, I would suggest that as a gesture of renewal for the new year, the team for the next test should include every Englishman who has reached double figures or taken a wicket in the BBL. Can't do any worse. That's interesting.
What can you name those? Can you name those people?
Well,
do you mean in the BBL this season?
I think...
there can't be that many players playing in the...
I think there's a few.
11 English players? Really?
Well, there you are then. There's your team.
But no, I said this is driven back to Rabada. I don't think there are.
Oh, you don't think there are?
No.
Well, we'd have to check that.
You got Curran, Vince, Salt, Hales. Is Timo Mills there this year?
Ooh, I don't know. Banton.
Oh yeah, Banton. Get him in.
Timo Mills will never play a test match, will he?
No, Mills.
No,
but
5. I don't know who else is playing, to be honest. I haven't been paying great attention to the...
I wouldn't mind saying Banton in whites. You've heard what I'm not going to say the same again about Hales. He should never be near 3 lines again, in my opinion.
You've got some strong opinions, Rog.
Not afraid to wear them.
Into Root, it comes off a thick inside edge down to long leg. They take another single.
My friend Paul Smith would probably
my friend
wish
Paul
to
Smith.
disagree with you there, Rog.
Having
written an open letter to Paul Hales, which was published in the Cricketer.
To Paul Hales?
To Paul Hales, to Alex Hales. You should have a read. You should have a read of that. I think I may actually have it in my bag.
Okay, no, I think I did see it at the time. What he sort of, what does he suggest? Hales.
Well, he's suggesting
seek forgiveness.
He's actually yes, but he does it in a very constructive way, in that he's proposed exactly who he should talk to and how he should think about taking his career forward. It's a very constructive, not critical attack.
Rabada bowls and has Butler leaping about in anticipation, but actually finding the ball keeping quite low, and so has to jab the bat down on it and steer it to cover.
Well, I'm all for forgiveness and absolution but ultimately I don't think Hales is a very good batsman, a good enough batsman, and he has character issues, troubling character issues that of course
they compound his lack of batsmanship.
Well, they're all intrinsic.
They are.
I don't think he's the brightest bloke. Which sounds patronising, but I know this from people who know him.
Yeah.
The way he lied to the police whenever Ben Stokes was getting arrested, I think was pretty reprehensible. His drug use is a different issue. Paul Smith is no better man for him to seek advice from. And yes, he's back. He's been back in his county fold, and he's getting a good gig out in Australia.
Rabada bowls well played by Butler as that came into him sharply. Managed to tuck it up to mid-on. And that is the end of the over. Yeah, I mean, look, Hales has got a pretty good record in the white ball game, hasn't he? Though.
He's fine. Yeah, fine.
White ball. Yeah.
But you're not talking about tests.
Yeah. I'm not changing my. I said this before he ever got picked for England, and his Test career never convinced me. I know he got a good. Did he get a good 90 odd against Sri Lanka?
I can't remember, to be honest.
But he was given a good go and he failed, like so many openers.
He did. Arthur Patricia says, Johnny, just retire from Red Bull. Make bazillions in the IPL, win White Ball World Cups, let Ben Folks out the boot of your car. He's put the Wisden figures for last 20 innings. I'm going to read them really quickly. 15-12, 30-52, 14-2, 0-0, 8-6, 52, 30 not out, 4-36, 17, 25, 22, 14, 1.
Well, one thing I do pick up from that is you say his highest score is 52, but it looks like he's got 52 twice.
He did.
Ah, there you go. That changes things. That changes things.
And 1 not out, which was the 30. However, there's an awful lot in single figures, and then a little, couple of zeros. Yeah, they're not convincing for someone who's primarily a batsman.
It's a tricky one though. Now, does he go back to county cricket and relearn his long form trade? I don't know. Or does he? Does he just take the millions? Does he go to and play one-day cricket for England and look for one-day gigs around the world? Nokia is on, and when he came on first thing this morning, he took a wicket within 2 balls, left alone by Root, and through to the keeper it goes.
It's a good jingle. Let's have it again.
I like it.
Oh, the Nokia jingle, yes.
If your number one project is to have yourself a bride, I think I've got your number one guy. He was bought by a franchise when he was buying meat. It's Unrik Nokia.
Nokia then into Root. Full of ball, he's had a little pinch at that and he's got the edge. Second ball again. Oh my word, Root has gone. He hasn't got a 50. De Kock is absolutely thrilled. Duplessis is hugging Nokia, who's only into his 3rd test. He's getting all sorts of congratulations, and Root has gone.
I think Faf got a poke in the eye during that celebration as well.
Good. Shouldn't have been playing at it, mind.
It was a lovely ball, though.
It was a good ball, but shouldn't have been playing at it. It's
extra pace, though, doesn't it? It's the extra pace that
drew him in.
Yeah.
Root is absolutely apoplectic and despondent in the same breath, really. Batted well. He's made 48. And Norkia's got the magic, hasn't he? He's got the magic to be brought on by Duplessis.
Yeah.
Twice he's done it today. Taken a wicket with his second ball. Important wickets they were. And, well, that's probably it for England, isn't it? I think we have to say.
Who's Sam Curran?
Sam Curran, then Jofra Archer, who really hasn't shown us that he can bat. And then, of course, Brody and Anderson. It's not even sort of someone like Wokes down there, is there? So to
let's
sort
not
of
worry
feel
too much about that.
But I do like the idea that Johnny Bairstow, they'll discover the body of Ben Folks.
Ben Folks in his car.
But I wonder how many others he's got in there. I think this maybe goes back years.
What, Pope and
who else has he kept?
Pope and Butler he's dealt with in this series.
Ben Cox.
Ben Cox. There was the guy. The guy's written a book from Hampshire. Was it Tom Curry? Who am I thinking of? There's a review of his book in the latest edition of the Cricketer. He's basically a brilliant keeper, but couldn't bat.
I know who you mean.
So he's probably in there as well. A couple of guys, people like who's the guy who went to Essex from Hampshire? Wheater.
Yeah, Adam Wheater.
Yeah.
Yep.
He probably
Alex Davis.
Alex Davis. Yeah. It's going to be. I mean, when finally all the police forces get together and realise he's been going around the country,
bumping off
imprisoning or bumping off other wicket keepers. That'd be a great book, that, wouldn't it? And that'll be the next guerrilla publishing venture. Sam Curran.
Wicket for Midsummer.
Indeed.
Sam Curran. What's his distinguishing feature? Sam Curran. He starts from Zimbabwe. Sam Curran. And he's beloved by Liz Yates. Sam Curran.
Well, England still need, 144 to win with 4 wickets left. Norkia's round the wicket to the left-handed. Curran hit on the pad. Maybe a little bat involved. There are hands on heads in the slip cordon. And there's applause from those men as well.
I'm running behind on tweets, so I'll try and slipped them in between balls. Abhishek Chopra says, true story, Homer wrote Iliad after watching Root and Butler bat at Centurion in 1876 BC.
Really?
Rather interesting.
Well,
And
history
he's been
repeats, doesn't
eating
it?
the same cheese that Nestle Boy was
I love the way
obviously
Root.
eating.
I love the way Root tried to snatch his bat back behind his pad, pretending, no, I didn't actually play that. No, that was just a complete optical illusion. Anyway, here comes Nokia again. Bowls to Curran, beats him with pace outside the off stump, 140 Ks. In old money, that's 87 miles per hour.
This one's already rather dated. Darren Macy. Overly optimistic theory. Butler and Root, both beset by illness, are forced to make a special effort to concentrate more than usual, and as a result both play a solid innings in which Root doesn't get out looking comfortable on 83. Well, he's got out looking comfortable on 40-something, didn't he?
48.
Sadly, only got
48.
half of the 83 you were thinking
And
about.
he didn't even convert to a 50. He's back into a rut, isn't he? He gets himself a double 100, and then suddenly it's only 13 and 48. Here is Nokia again into Curran. Curran in behind, defending that, and Nokia kind of kicks that on his follow throw, nearly kicked it out of the reach of Philander there at mid-off.
Phil Jones says, in hospital since yesterday AM. Oh dear, sorry to hear that. Still clinging to hope that England bat to Monday lunch, so I have something to listen to before discharge. Phil, sorry, I can't make your day any better on that front. But
There are
wishing you well.
Plenty of other ways you can enjoy a discharge, but we won't go into that. Curran then to get off the mark. Butler 5 off 20. One very pleasant. Are we due a change? Probably are.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, it's time for me to go. Go now. Driven up to mid-off.
If you gotta go.
Yeah, you two. I'll come out. Tony will come out, and then Rod will come into ball by ball.
Yep.
Tom will come back along with not Fred.
That's the that's the end of the over. I'm still.
Oh, it's the end of the over.
Yeah, I'm going to stay here. Yeah.
All right. So when
Okay.
you're ready,
Chris the Choir has a very interesting question for us, which could get us talking. So that's the next tweet up.
Desperately trying to remember that Hampshire wicketkeeper's name. Can you help me out with that, Fred? Recent one that was really good, but he was like a number 10 batsman, so his career was stymied. And I'm supposed to be a Hampshire fan. It's killing Ian. If Ian Pearce is listening, he's devastated. Sorry, Mark Nicholas. Rabada continues down the leg side, and a glove on it from de Kock. Will they get through for some kind of bye? They should. Or was it a chance? Was there a little scratch on it? De Kock's reaction suggests maybe. We don't see the umpire. They didn't even try a run. There was definitely a run there. Maybe Curran was onside and didn't want to call Butler through. I think it just flicked the pad.
I'm pretty sure that was pad.
Slips went up immediately, and it was. And de Kock got a proper palm on it, going to his left. He does that shuffle towards the slips, de Kock, which is how he dropped Burns yesterday. This is a good one from Rabada. Beats the edge of Butler.
Not quite the palm on it. He got the end of his fingers really, but they either stick or most often they don't.
Hello, Tom. You're back.
Hello, Rog. I
They
think
did
he
flick
missed
the
that by
pad.
miles.
Yeah, a bit of excitable Faf and Razzie as well. Razzie's desperate to do something, having dropped a couple of goobers. But Faf is just 4 wickets away from a long-awaited win for his Proteas. He waits for Rabada, and it's wide, and Butler's flashing at it with no feet, and lucky to miss it. What priority giving them now? Spunky Sammy and Dreamy Joss, have they got a chance?
I think we're back down to close to Jonathan Agnew's 0%, aren't we? I think I'm going to give them a 1% chance from here.
I think Joss has got to earn that MBE, hasn't he?
Well, true. He waits now. Oh, and just jackknifes at him, hits him on top of the pad. That's pretty unplayable.
Unplayable.
It flies out to, well, you would know, Hormit. You've bowled a few unplayable ones in your time, but that ballooned out into the gully. Well, yes, self-proclaimed. Let me a little in-joke for our listeners. We might as well explain it. Tom, who won my team's Player of the Year in 2018, did it with some of his great bowling, and he picked up a very good 5-for against the Lionel length.
The Lionel
11, one of those well-named Sunday sides. And I think your third victim, you yorked the left-hander as Rabada's in. Oh, this one keeps low with a toe end.
The bat, yeah.
Saves Butler. This such uneven bounce, and Butler's doing brilliantly to survive, but it mightn't be for long. Anyway, Tom cleaned up this left-hander and followed through, proclaiming himself, "That's unplayable."
Oh.
Yeah,
you can't say that about yourself.
Correct.
He hasn't been allowed to forget it since.
You've been known as Unp ever since.
Very embarrassing.
Players and when you bowl a pie, what do people say to you?
It was a beaut.
Yeah, and you followed it up. You then turned it into a 5-fer. So, and you got player of the year.
Don't worry, Fred. I bowled plenty of pies.
This one's thick-edged into the gully, safety enough by Butler, who survives. Another, it's 232 for 6.
Is that to a chorus of "That's all too playable" by your teammates?
Yeah.
Well, I believe we were up to this choir from up to this tweet from Chris the Choir, although it was 14 minutes ago, so who knows. Simon Gear on Guerrilla Cricket South Africa detailing new projects for 2020, 150 park runs and spotting 365 birds in the wild. Good luck with that. And podcasting about them. Fascinated to hear what plans the UK Guerrillas have for the new year. Mine is much of the same, I think.
Mine is 1,000 runs by the end of May.
Right. Is that cricketing runs or bad curry runs?
No. Tom? New Year's resolutions?
New Year's resolution. I've never been much of one for New Year's resolutions. So let me just mull that one over.
All right. Enric Nortier is edged through a 4th slip region, which is untenanted, so Sammy Curran gets his innings going rather streakily, but it all counts.
Did you read this?
Oh no, I was right between 3rd and gully. I would have needed a 5th, 6th slip.
Catchable height though.
Well placed.
Was this tweet from Simon O'Keefe read?
Let's hear from Sock.
He says, "Hello boys, listening from Sydney.
Hello, Sock.
I have some news. The crazy redhead and I got hitched last week.
Oh,
I'll send some
Sock.
pics next week.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. Sock.
Mrs. Sock, what a lucky lady.
Well, she must be crazy. She's married you.
Yes, Curran goes back and plays into the offside for a single. Yeah, Sock is our, an Australian painter decorator that got on board, and then he's got Irish roots, so he came over to Malahide with us last year.
He's got a lot of family in Ireland, I think.
Yeah.
He's very knowledgeable about the game.
Yeah.
And talks well.
Is he Finchley Thirds or something?
Yep. He's a
skipper.
Finchley Cricket Club, a good club in North London.
Oh, that's happy news. Very happy news.
We're well behind from the tweets, so I shall do some judicious editing.
Philander waiting with his floppy on. He's watching Nokia bowling to Butler with a dreamy punch off the back foot straight through extra cover region for a glorious one of these.
I once played a shot like that. I remember it because it didn't happen very often. And my partner at the other end came up to me to sort of punch gloves and whatever. He said, "I never knew you could do that." I said, "I didn't think I could do it either, to be honest."
Yeah,
Just sort of stood up and played it with a straight bat through extra cover.
Pedigree shot that from Butler, and that's why he promises so much. That's why he's the incumbent with the gloves, because England recognise this high ceiling of his talent.
He plays that so well. He really does.
135 needed.
He does look a bit gaunt, Butler, but he's going to fight for his side. He's going to fight for his gong. Oh, and it's him on the pad. It balloons into the onside. Maybe there was some inside edge on it. This short leg couldn't get close. I thought it must have had some edge because I thought it was a pretty decent LBW shot. But the result is he remains on 9 not out. England are 135 short with 4 wickets left.
Doing some tweet editing. Messi Jez says there are 11 Englishmen playing the Big Bash League. Let's see how many you can name.
Well, I think we did 6 earlier. If you were listening,
Tom Curran, one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hales, the ones we mentioned earlier were Hales, Salt, Vince. There's Butler on the hook shot, top edging it between the 2 men and all the way onto the grass bank. Kids are flying everywhere trying to get their hands on it, but Butler takes full toll of a bouncer.
Those 11 are Vince, Hales, Gurney, Parkinson,
Gurney.
Salt, Banton, Gleeson, Brown, Livingston, Jordan, Curran.
Jordan, of course, test match pedigree up.
Luke Wright's lost his gig then, has he?
Yeah, I think has he retired, fully retired?
No, he's in the he was in the 100 draft, I think.
Did we discuss that Peter Siddle has retired from international
I mentioned
cricket?
it, yeah. I had a banana in his honour this morning.
Is he still playing for Essex now?
Yeah, I think so. Butler's looking to push the offside. He does, but it's fielded. And an over that went for 15 gives England a little prayer. 247 for 6.
Michael Bates is the man you were thinking of, Rog.
Yeah, MJ Bates.
Ian Pearce, of course, the man of Hampshire, tells us. He has written a book, and I recently interviewed the co-writer about it. So there. The Duke of Umbridge, who is live from the gates of hell, which is a hell of a Twitter handle, says, the Duchess and I think that perhaps Colin Robinson, the energy vampire from What We Do in the Shadows, may have infiltrated the England dressing room. That's a reference which is lost on me, but I read it nonetheless. Technically, Phil Salt is a Welshman, says Chris Drew.
Oh, yeah.
When we talk about Englishmen playing the BBL, well, I'm not going to get involved in that one. And we're up to date with tweets by virtue of not reading most of them.
When you talk about English cricketers, the Welsh is silent, isn't it?
Yes, it's the ENG.
Yeah, that's your own fault, Wales. That's on you. This is jagging away by Rabada into the keeper's gloves. It died a bit.
The qualified is in brackets, isn't it? English qualified cricketers. That's the.
Yeah, but if you're Welsh, you've given up that. I mean, it's implicit. You're English qualified. It's implicit.
If we're to go through those 11 cricketers again, half of them are probably born outside England anyway. I mean, as most England cricketers are.
I don't think so. I think they're all pretty legit.
Well, Chris Jordan,
yeah. Oh, good take from de Kock. High bouncer, sails over Curran. Yeah, Gleeson. I didn't realise people like Gleeson, Parkinson, and Brown were out there. They're all Englishmen.
Well, the BBL doesn't quite have the cachet of some other tournaments, perhaps. Grits and Grats, I didn't read this one, but you were talking about a murder mystery novelisation earlier?
Midsummer, with Bairstow killing off keepers.
He says it should be called The Wicket Creeper, with the strapline, whatever you do, don't look behind you.
Yeah, that's good. 2 slips, short leg, and Sammy throws his hands at this one, up and over.
That's the way to play.
Again, that's going to go onto the bank, but 1 bounce.
For the Wicket Reaper.
Like that.
Grim
it's me, Sanshi. It's me, Sanshi.
That's the way Sam Curran likes the bat, and wide half volley. You might as well flash hard at it.
I think there's a tactical reason for these 2 batsmen to actually have a go at the ball, because if anything's going to put some fear into South Africa from this position, it's going to be 50 quick runs.
Rabada looking to stem that. He beats Sam Curran, finds his edge through to de Kock. He has another victim, and Curran gets a little send off because Rabada ultimately too good for him, just outside of the length, jagging away, and Curran gone for 9. England 251 for 7. Too good for number 8. His feet went nowhere.
It's just a beautiful delivery.
Yeah, it's a good delivery.
And de Kock has how many victories? He had 6 in the first innings. Was that his second in this?
So 2 in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's right. 8 grabs for him.
Well, Archer's coming to the crease now. We'd heard some very good things about Archer's batting before he started playing for England. It's fair to say he hasn't shown anything with a bat yet in either Test match or one-day cricket for England. But if ever he's going to do something, now would be a good time to start. Having said that, I will say, even if England lose this by 100 runs, I think they will take some encouragement about the way they've gone about this second innings. They haven't collapsed like a pack of cards, and they've put some runs on the board, and they've had a go at this target, which everyone expected on this kind of wicket with a 100 first innings deficit to be completely unreachable. So the fact that they've stayed in this game for long, I mean, it won't help them. They'll still be 1 down in the series, but they can. There are things they can take from this game.
Well, certainly Sibley's innings, I think, is definitely. Well, of course, Burns, but we really need Sibley to establish himself at the top of the order, and I would have thought he looked really good. And what did he have? 90 balls yesterday. And yeah, it was a poor and disappointing way to get out, but
time at the crease is very
time at the
valuable,
crease,
especially in
yeah.
the first Test match of a four-game series.
Here's the new man.
He will break your heart. Hotter than lava, cooler than Bogart. In your face, at your stumps, on your toes, on your mum.
Back of a length, and he's playing a nice shot with a big follow through off the back foot. Archer, he's going to get off the mark with a four. A despairing attempt to chase it down by Hamza, but Jofra is up and running. See, I can DJ for you as well, Tom, on your next album if you want.
I appreciate that, Ross.
Yeah, if you can, on the ones and twos. Rabada to Jofra, who beats him wide off stump. Jofra had a little fence, but missed it.
Well, I'm certainly hoping to book you for the string session, mate. So
there's a bass guitar in the spare room in this house, by the way. It's about time I
it was thrown
picked it
at
up.
Kevin Peterson.
Oh, yeah.
in Nestle Boy's dream. Apparently Parkinson is not in the BBL. He's in South Africa with
Well,
England.
it could be no. There's two Parkinsons.
Michael Parkinson.
Well, top 5 Parkinson's disease. Michael Callum.
Parky. It was.
I played against his son, Michael Parkinson Jr.
Was he very boring?
He's quite good. What's that posh club they play for out in? It's out near Maidenhead.
Cecil?
Maidenhead and Bray Cricket Club. Cecil is a good one, yeah. Cecil.
Cecil. Yeah.
This is a throwback.
What happened to Flora Keys?
Cecil's.
Flora Keys. She was either the secretary or the daughter. I forget which.
Right.
That Cecil Parkinson emerged with one day.
Ooh. Cecil.
I don't think he's alive anymore, actually. We can't libel him.
What are we? 9 minutes till tea. That'll be England's mini target. Or would they? You can't claim
extra
half an hour. Can you with 3 wickets to take?
Oh, not with three.
No.
No, I don't think
it
so.
needs 2 at least.
Plenty of time for 2 more, though.
Yeah. And Nortgate is prancing in and targeting those stumps. Stays a bit low again. Butler keeps it out and will take a single. The South Africans mightn't mind that terribly much. Butler to 16.
We've been suggested a Welsh team by Martin Jones, of course, Martin Jones, Phil Salt, Nick Selman, Nia Donald, Kieran Carlson, David Lloyd, Chris Cook, the wicketkeeper, James Harris, Andrew Salter, Prem Sisudia, Lucas Carey and Roman Walker. Who would they beat?
Well, Selman's Australian. Cook is from South Africa. I know they're probably naturalised by now, but there's some
Can you be naturalised Welsh?
Prem Sisudia is an interesting one. He's got a lot of good chat. I like Andrew Salter, the off-breaker, although his form has dipped. But he used to live below me, so that's why I like him. But keen motorcyclist. Nortgate to Archer. He's playing it out to point, no run.
Mog says, now there are 2 musos on. I'm disappointed not a single mention of quavers or inverted chords as yet.
Top 5 chords, Tom, that you like to use. Go on.
Corduroys,
trousers.
jeans. Yeah. Vocal.
Diminished.
Diminished which one though?
Sevenths, yeah. Or augmented fourths.
Ooh, sneaky.
Top 5 quavers, flavours.
Cheesy. Nortgate to Archer, a bumper harmlessly over his head. There is a leg gully and a short leg, and there's a hard stare, and there's plenty of chat from some chirpy Proteas. They can sense. I love it getting into Archer here, especially after those beamers. Don't forget, it was Archer to Nortgate.
Oh yeah,
there's a bit of history, recent history.
Here's a question for you both. The numbers on the front of the South African shirts underneath Proteas, why are they so low? Because they
since readmission.
Is it since readmission?
I've been surprised how low they are too.
Have they banished all the previous lot?
Well, exactly. So
yeah, why is that? Oh, edged and taken, and Razi has a catch at first slip. Nortgate has a hard look to send Archer packing.
Finally grabs one.
Yeah, he just filled it one, a nice catchable height. He took it, fingers pointing up in front of his chest, and he is stoked. England, not so much. They're 256 for 8. Archer on his bike.
You silly little boy, what on earth were you playing at? Oh!
Raw pace from North. That's how a quick should get their wickets, by bowling quick. None of these knuckleballs that target the head. Sorry, Joffrey, it's a tough lesson for you to learn, but the South Africans will remind you about it all series, I think. Good catch. It flew at him.
Mogg always wants to turn the attention to himself. Says there's only one chord I can play, a power chord, and even then my efficacy is questionable. Well, we've heard you come up with some pretty subtle jingles over the years. So
These South Africans are cock a hoop, aren't they? It's
as they ought to be be fair. They've not had a great time coming into this series, but to go one up in a 4-match, I don't want to say series again, but I have to, is
4-match rubber.
Or series, as Brian Johnson used to call them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that this is England are any way out of this. Have to say series again.
No, you don't.
Out of the competition for this winter, but it's been a good game. South Africa look like they're going to win it pretty comfortably, but I still think we're going to have plenty of good cricket for the rest of the Test matches.
There's a police helicopter circling, and I don't blame him. As we
Hendo's
say, cheerio
gone.
to
He's had
Hendo and
enough.
his final donut, which he's taken safely in the gloves.
The new nut.
And you're going to be licking your lips as a fast bowler to see this man walk to the crease.
What would make Broad walk?
If his stumps were knocked down,
What would make Broad walk?
caught 5 feet off the
What
ground,
would make Broad walk?
if he trod on his
What
stumps,
would make Broad walk?
if God was one of the
What
arms,
would make Broad walk? Broad walk.
What broad?
Broad's got to resist the temptation to walk straight to square leg whenever the ball's coming down at him. The floodlights are on, tricky time to bat, and I imagine this extra half hour will be seized upon by the rampant Proteas.
Now, Roger, while we wait for Broad to take his guard, I've got a little muso quiz for you. So there are 4 players playing in this Test match who share their surnames with composers.
Well, Elgar's.
Elgar.
Straight on
That's
with a bullet.
That's your throw.
Ooh.
That's your throw down right there.
Well, Nortje throws one up at Brody's throat, and there's some chat. Yeah, Brody defended it pretty well at the offside, and they're getting to know each other a lot more.
Can you name the other 3?
Oh, it hit him! Got him on the lid. It got through
Yeah.
the bat, and there'll be a little hiatus here because you got to get that checked. That just fizzed past his gloves, and Brody seems unconcerned, but that's the rules. If it hit it, no, he definitely hit him on the lid, didn't it?
I thought he did. Yeah.
We're seeing the Archer wicket again. Archer, was he a composer? No. Are you trying with Praetorius? Michael
Yes.
Praetorius?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good grab there.
Yeah, well, he meant. He came up the other day.
That's your seconds.
Okay.
2 in the England team. There's
Bairstow.
Bairstow.
Edward Bairstow was
Bairstow.
a good Victorian composer. Yeah, a lot of church music.
And then your 4th. Think of kind of seasonal favourites.
Oh, well, Broad is waiting for this next one, which is pitched up and defended.
Anderson.
So they didn't.
Anderson, very good. Leroy Anderson of the famously composed Sleigh Ride.
Good pinch there. Good batting and
Well
partnerships.
done. Good
me and
partnership
Fred. Well,
team.
yeah. They're still wondering about Broad's lid. Broad. He does this sort of affected, like.
What's going on?
Yeah,
Where am
he's
I?
such a drama queen, isn't he?
He is. Although, have you heard him talk much about cricket? He's incredibly erudite and fluent, and he will walk into a commentary box, deservedly so, when
ours.
If he wants
What
to.
would make
I'm
Broad
not going to argue with him.
Ours. No, I haven't heard. Is this the Stephen Fry stuff? Should I be listening to that?
No. I've just interviews with him, and it's just occasional stuff. I don't dig that stuff out normally, but when I have heard him, I've been very impressed with what he says and how he says it. So, which contrasts greatly with some of the other people who have walked into commentary boxes with whom I haven't been quite so impressed.
So a ball later, the man has come out to check on his helmet. That's a bit of a dereliction of duty to
Rory 79 AU says Broadwalk, marvellous jingle. It is actually, it really is.
And we're just going to see that, the penultimate ball, which was a really well-directed bumper. Got him on the lid. He ducked into it, maybe caught it on the brim of
Really
the lid.
nasty.
Yeah. But the helmets are so, and of course it was broad. They had to change the distance between the grill and the lid because of one that sneaked through broad. The famous one from the Indian bowler Varanaran, was it? Here comes Butler, taking Rabada downtown. That's the way to do it. He clears the front leg, gets it right out of the meat. Has it gone all the way? Umpire Dean Gaff needs some assistance. Good batting from this from Butler. Stepped across one-day mode and sized up the length.
We ought to...
Has it gone all the way?
Yes, it
easily.
has, comfortably. We ought to
Have yourself a jingle.
Messi just points out he has all the 8s and 3s from 128 to 178. So England, i.e. final scores, England scores ending in 4-9 from 249 to 299. So he's still in with a chance of copping that jackpot today.
Yeah. Umpire puts his hands up, baby, hands up. Rabada to Butler again, makes room, and this time a short one he sends high into the air. Is it long enough? Have they sent anyone out there? They have, and he catches it. Dwayne Pretorius down it wide mid-on. Rabada has a cursory look at Butler, who he's sent packing, and that is pretty brainless as well. If they put a man out,
no, it's not brainless. He has to go for it. He absolutely has to go with Broad and Anderson at the other end.
Yeah, well, you could ramp that over the.
I think that is pretty brainless
other
cricket.
places to hit. Yeah, there are other ways of batting with the tail rather than attacking every single ball. It's when you've done it once, you put a man out for the next one, and he hits it straight down his throat. I mean, he's out.
I mean, fuck off! Just fuck off!
Tim Cricket Guy says the South African cap numbers are low because they only count the ones since readmission. They don't count the ones before that. Personally, he does, but he doesn't run Cricket South Africa. It's a bit odd.
I suppose it's in the spirit of
disowning their heritage.
Well, not no, they're not disowning it. They're just
ignoring it.
Yeah,
right.
It just shows how little faith they have in Stuart Broad's batting, doesn't it?
It's justified, though. To be fair,
it is. He I don't know what he's done to deserve his promotion back to 10 from 11 in New Zealand.
Well,
was Jimmy Anderson,
I'd be behind him.
Well, I think Anderson's a better bet for a partnership at 10 than Broad is now.
Yeah, for a partnership, not necessarily to make more runs, but perhaps for a partnership.
That's all. Well, that's all cricket is. Batting in partnerships. And
batting in partnerships just means not losing wickets, basically.
Well, sure, but Butler's given his wicket away because of the man down the other end, who is a walking wicket himself, whereas Anderson, who has a bit more obduracy, I think.
When the epitaphs of this Test match are written, I don't think it will. Who was 10 and 11 will be high in the list of
and if Jack Leach had got out with and England had lost by 71 runs at Headingley, here's England's number 11 with a big smile on his face. Best of 81, of course, at Trent Bridge on that turgid pitch. But, well, Jimmy's brave. He'll get in line.
And then try and reverse sweep.
Yeah. But Rabada has done a good job at mopping up this tail. And hasn't he enjoyed it?
He's a class act, Rabada, isn't he?
Yep. Rightly, as rightly the number 2 bowler in the world behind Cummins, who's just come off another good Test match, and Wagner at 3.
Can I ask you to pull up the GPL page, which is on the Firefox link there?
Certainly, as we watch Brody having a hack at one, and he's got it over mid-on. They should run for a couple. And that's the way Broad will bat from now on as well. Step out of the way and have a thrash.
Because we could have a winner. What were England on overnight?
They were on 120. Oh, I don't know. I don't know offhand. I don't think I know my way around this GPL. I'm sorry.
Okay, maybe we'll ask. No, we can't ask anyone. Bear, if you're listening from home, can you have a look? If it finishes on 4 or 9, Messi Jez, I think, wins. And they're on 4 now.
This is very well placed from Broad as he almost runs to square leg, chops it Cook cut style down to fine leg for another double.
Yeah, he got outside that ball. It might have been a wide had he stayed in his normal position. Well down the leg side.
Well, I mean, Rabada would be wise maybe just bowl at the stumps, but Broad sort of suckered him into following him. As we see Butler's dismissal again, he's give it the heave-ho straight up in the air.
Give back the MB.
Pretorius with his bionic hand. Should he be allowed that to
I
catch
don't think he
with?
can have that with a catching hand. With some, it should be 5 runs.
Yeah. Well, I think I saw our friend Gareth Griffiths on the grass bank there.
Gareth Griffiths used to play centre half for Port Vale.
The very one. Now he plays principal trumpet in the Cyprus Symphony
Oh,
Orchestra. This is chipped over mid-wicket. And it's maybe put down by Hamza. Brody this time it went way outside off stump. Rabada had gone round the wicket. It's Maharaj, sorry. Who was sprawling after it. I think Broad, end result, he's just picked another couple. Chipped it. Did Maharaj have a prayer? No, he just flung himself at it for the cameras. But,
well, if that is our Gareth Griffiths, the great Welsh Cypriot trumpeter, you can be sure that those South African outfielders will be receiving some chirping.
Maybe a bread of heaven, even. He's got good.
Oh!
Rabada does target the stumps and knocks over Broad's. Easily done. Broad offers them up, and England have offered up this Test match, which
Broad
has been won by 107 runs. Yeah, not a good look. Stuart Broad, easily done, and there were some glum faces. England, and a real tough test this has been with all the illness. They gave it a decent fight, but the expected result has come through. Once the target of 376 was set, it was always a tall order, and England have folded a bit like a...
Yeah, the first innings did for them, didn't it?
Yeah, well, I think it was the Norkia, and yes, the first inning. No, you're dead right. The Quinton de Kock 95, when from a position of 111 for 5. Some
and
people...
England folding from, what were they, 150 for 3, something
142 for 3, I think it was. And a lot of people argue it was at the toss, a very curious decision from Joe Root to insert.
Yeah, curious at best, I think.
But South Africa, broad smiles on their faces. They've ended a 5-match losing run, and the handshakes are coming in. This is 3 more games to play. There has been a bit of edge in this series, but it's good to see broad smiles.
I'd be wary of those handshakes of the South Africans, given the contagion.
Yeah, we'll get you some news on the GPL. We've got plenty of time now that we've got ourselves an early finish. Time to nip off for a pub lunch at our leisure.
Oh, absolutely.
But just to continue a little review of this game. Quinton de Kock batted with real fluency and flair, as a player of his class will do, coming in at 6. And like you said, it was a good partnership. Who was it? Denley and Stokes. But when Denley fell for 51, England's last 7 for 37.
Yeah,
for
38 maybe.
Yeah, they fell in a clatter. They attacked back with 4 wickets that night and gave themselves a sniff, but the next morning when Norkia and Van der Dussen came together, then no winners of the GPL. We've gone at great pains, knocking all kinds of equipment over to disappoint all you inveterate gamblers. Oh, sorry, you players of skill and valour. But do try again on the next test. And little Temba Bavuma still part of the party. He's shaking hands with Dom Sibley. The umpires get a good hand. Protea fire is burning.
Are you picking, what 11 are you picking for the next test, Roger? I'm assuming Ollie Pope comes back in?
Yes, let's assume every fit Englishman is available. I'll have Pope for Bairstow straight away, and then in terms of the attack, I want to see a spinner. I wonder if Dom Bess could be considered, because he's a really good cricketer, good off spinner, played well in his couple of tests for England.
Very well.
And
fill in that number 8 role.
And he can bat, yeah. He can bat. I would keep Curran. I don't know, but
So which bowler are you
which
dropping?
bowler? Maybe Broad.
He's been very, very good over the last year.
Maybe Anderson.
I'm dropping Curran, which
Okay.
is harsh because he's bowled beautifully and he always looks the part. But I think we do need a spin option, and
we don't know what
unfortunately,
it's going to look like at Cape Town.
He's the weakest of the 4, I think.
He
We don't need 5 seamers.
Picked up good wickets in the first innings.
He did, but I just don't think any Test team ever needs 5 seamers. And I want that variety. Even you see with Maharaj there, just providing that point of difference.
Well, I'd have folks in. The rest of them don't really care. Phil Jones says, I'm going to have to watch football for the rest of the hospital stay. P.S. I'm Welsh. Ignoring players before readmission. Classic cricket South Africa, says Rory. Jofra Archer is the proud owner of 110 international runs at 6.87. That's worse than Corey Collymore.
Well, he got a red anchor today at least, didn't he? Oh no, he didn't.
He
was
didn't.
out. Yeah,
no,
sorry.
he was out. Caught a slip. Thank you all. Great coverage in trying circumstances, says Messi Jez. Nobody won the GPL. He missed by 1 again. Mog, it's over. Dang, I was just about to send in the Butler shit 6 jingle. And thanks Guerrilla Cricket and Guerrilla Cricket South Africa, says Evil Scooters, for your excellent coverage for this decade until the next one, which starts in a year and a bit. So that's up to date with tweets, and we shall do the final knockings here, and many of us will be back on Friday for the next test match, which starts half an hour later, 8:30 UK time.
Ooh, that's nice to hear.
Mate, yeah, an extra half hour in bed. And until then,
safe travels to you, Fred.
Thank
when
you
you're
very
out
much.
there, hopefully we'll stay in touch with you.
Maybe I'll do some
roving reporting
from the ground reportage.
Talk to some of those get some of those
I
barmies
will,
on
I'm
the
sure I
on the
will.
horn.
I'm sure I will. Introduce myself to your mate Billy.
Yeah.
I think our first tweets was about his missing semitone from the Jimmy Anderson.
That's right.
Wow.
And we'll be back for the next test match, all the other test matches as well, plus one day internationals, T20s, whatever else is going on. So until then, goodbye from all of us. Today were
thanks for having me.
Tom Hickox. You can buy his stuff. Do a Google search for him and you'll find his stuff. Roger
Come and
McCann,
see me on the road, everyone.
Nigel Henderson, Tony Bishop. Was there anybody else? I don't think there was. And everybody else who's been in this test. So long, and see you on Friday.
Guerrilla cricket.
Bye.
Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla. Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time has come. This is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than red counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act, but people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pascoe, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. We would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Che Guevara, Sangakkara,